Like, why I don't get a lot of subscribers? Like, they ain't even promoting my stuff to the Asian folks, yo. Free China. But I know all the countries around China, they're actually on the internet, you know. Oh, that's where that thing went. It's the round sides. The drawing. I was looking for that eye stuff, but I can't find it now. I don't know what I did with it. Just realized I have bags under my eyes. I got some vapes that I never went and got the refill for. Just one time, like 2 refills. But like for 4 refills, for 4 refills, it was like $30. Stuff was expensive. I did the math on it. The way I smoke is like $5 a day. Maybe it was 6. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I don't know. Still expensive. It's cool. It's cool to vape a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, yeah. My sore throat did go away, but I ended up feeling like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know. I mean, vaping is different than smoking, but supposedly it has less harmful chemicals in it, like carbon monoxide. I put some butter in my coffee, even though I knew that it was the wrong kind of butter. It's not real butter, it's fake butter. It's got vegetable oil in it, and I'm like, damn. It was gonna taste good too if it would have been real butter. Now I can see all the little bubbles, like all the little vegetable oil bubbles. You know, vegetable oil, like if you look into that, it was created from like leftovers of farming. But like it's not healthy for us. Supposedly has leftover hexane in it. This is like similar to gasoline from when the chemical process, and like the vegetable oil, like over time it causes you to get old. It causes oxidation, and then it causes inflammation. So it's not actually helping you. It's just like junk food. The real good oil would be olive oil, coconut oil, real butter. Probably even healthier to use pork lard, pork fat. Is It'd probably be healthier to use that to cook when you start cooking, you know, like them little tubs of lard. What up, YouTube? Y'all ain't gonna put me in the algorithm. Free China, yo. Free China. Yesterday I was trying to swipe up a lot to see people I wasn't subscribed to. Man, it kept showing me the same people over and over again. Like, even after I subscribed to like a few folks, it was showing me the same ones over and over again. But some new ones here and there. It's just hard to keep subscribing when they show you the same ones you already subscribed to. But I try. I might as well listen to some music, man. Fuck it. Morning. Have a good day, y'all. Have a good week. Have a good weekend.
Play.
No, the first one is good. Can't believe I'm drinking vegetable oil in my coffee. No. I got a penis pump, yo. Yo. The rubber is like melting. It's degrading. This is how you get milk from the cow. I had an O when it broke. It was actually bigger. Damn, mama be getting some milk. Damn. Oh man. Yo, free China. I used to play the Wii. Mario Kart. I know, it's stupid. Some batteries. Old motors. Such a long way, let us in. We've come such a long way, let us in. Motors. Let us in. We've come such a long way, let us in. We've come such a long way, let us in. It was for the Stampede. There's an old one from a Kyosho, it broke. I couldn't get this out. The spur gear. Damn, I got 3 old motors from along the way. DC. Just like what they want to put in your car. Fucking brushless motors, right? This is a brushed motor. The brushless motors go way faster. I let one of my homies drive it. He was letting his little kid drive it and they got it run over. That's the turnbuckles. Feel me? Is that where these went? I was gonna try to fix it after it got run over, and like I didn't feel like ordering the parts, but I could fix it. It would just cost like $200. I got a bunch of leftover nuts and screws and bolts type stuff, the little bitty ones. It used to be one of my hobbies. All my Asian people, yo, y'all got the Tamira on from the towerhobbies.com. Tamaya. Yeah, Tamaya Kyosho. Y'all got a lot of Tamaya and Kyosho stuff. I think a lot of that comes from Japan. Some could be coming from Korea. I don't know about China. You know, China make a bunch of stuff for like everybody. Walmart. These are the same. This video been blocked in Russia because I was listening to music. All these videos, they blocked in China. China can't watch none of y'all's videos unless they're using something I heard this woman say, like a DDP or something. I don't know what she was talking about, like a VPN or something, but they got a great firewall. It's like a great firewall around China. They don't want to be under the influence of Westerners type stuff. It's really weird. What about the Middle Easterners, yo? Like, can they surf the internet? Because I know they ain't really exactly free over there. Oh man, I need to organize this shit. I just threw a bunch of stuff in there and I never organized it.
Fucking with me. I won't rest till my enemies rest in peace. Yeah, stop fucking with me. I won't rest till these motherfuckers rest in peace. My enemies die.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Yo, what up, music? Good morning, everyone. Enjoy your day. Lord help me. I don't want to die alone. I don't want to get high alone. Damn. That's some dark Asians. I know it's some white Asians. I never seen so many white Asians until I got on YouTube. I was like, what? Lord have mercy. That's probably my favorite song on there. One More Body. It's a song, he got a grinder in the song, like he's grinding up bodies, but like I remember talking to him in like 2010 on MySpace or Facebook or something. I think it was MySpace. I don't know, like I can't remember if it was MySpace or Facebook. But like I told him like I work with trees and stuff, and that I listen to his music, and it really helped me a lot. And then they texted me back. They was like, God bless y'all, like God bless you. And then a few years later, like he come out with a song about a grinder, and I'm like, did I influence him to make a song about a grinder? Holy shit, because I was working with a chipper, like I was on a chip crew. And I was working with this like $500,000 machine. Now it'd probably be like $1 million, $1.5 million or something. I don't know, man. Them things are hella expensive. Really fucking loud. And then you gotta change the teeth in them every day. They're called Morbark. Like this dude that used to be with the company was like sharpening the knives, like at the shop. And then like a few years later, he ended up dying. I had to go to his funeral. He had kidney cancer or something, liver cancer or something. I think it was from, because he was always taking Tylenol, because I always would see him like take some Tylenol. But he was a perverted old man making jokes and stuff, and then like he was alright though. He was black. We all went to his funeral and paid our respect. But he had been with that business for like, I don't know how long. He was like 60 something years old when he died. I was like 20 something. But yeah, like I didn't have to quit. You know, don't quit. It made me feel like shit, like later on that I quit. And then I try to get a job back, and like he tell me to call him on Monday, and then I call on Monday, and then he don't answer the phone, and I'm like, this dude expect me to call like 10 times or something. But a lot of times it's actually better to show up in person. Fuck all them job applications, like they expect you to put in a job application, stuff like that. Like that's terrible. That's antisocial behavior. They just don't want to deal with y'all's bullshit or something. but like, see, like one time I did have a job offer for to get a job, but it was without an application. It was like if you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, they can get you a job. And like I was gonna work at this chicken plant one time on some scales or something, and like they kind of got me the job a little bit too fast because I didn't stop smoking weed, and then I fucking failed the drug test, and they didn't hire me. Yeah, I was fucked up. I don't believe in that, you know? It's just medicine. Weed is medicine, but like the way they treated weed is like so unfair because like people could just get drunk as fuck after they get off work. They're like literally damaging their brain. Hypocritical society, and then like I researched it one time and it was talking about like Europeans with weed, they wasn't really comfortable with the weed like that because it wasn't part of their culture. Like alcohol been part of their culture for longer, so that's why it's like that. Because a lot of the weed came from India, like over there close to Asia. But yeah, free China, yo. Free China. Are Chinese and Russian people really suffering? Are the Middle Easterner people really suffering? I know you might be a spoiled Westerner, and yeah, everything's fucking expensive, but I mean, we got higher standards of living, right? But it's like we still have a lot to complain about. 'Cause nobody likes being a wage slave. But it's like, manage your money right. Like, there's a little dude that got a shed from Walmart for like $250. I didn't know they was that cheap. And he like turned it into his little tiny home. You know, you got to improvise in life. You can get better in life. You don't have to just load yourself with debt. A whole lot of debt. You know, money that you have to pay back with interest. There's people with literally government contracts that never have to pay back their loan. But they expect you to take a loan and then pay it back with interest. You know, get the job done and pay it back. The principal, you got to pay back the principal, not just the interest. Hey, this stuff ain't been around for that long, man.
Sometimes I need a little reassurance, please. Somebody just lie to me. Lie to me. Just lie to me. Lie to me. Tell me I'm everything you ever hoped. Everything. And all of them that criticize, they don't know. They don't know. And all of them that criticize, they don't know. They don't know. Listen, I don't know about the drama that I put you through. It's just against the world, mommy, you know it's true. But they keep following me, yeah, they keep creeping around. I try to elevate myself, but they keep dragging me down. You know the nights are getting long and these days are short. The youth want peace, Babylon want war. Somewhere a poor young mother she cry. Herself to sleep, somewhere a soldier die. Rest in peace, now Babylon feel the heat. We on fire, enemies rest in peace. Yeah, you a liar. Consumed by hate and greed, I'm a freedom fighter. Don't fuck with me. Nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go but up. Dangerous winds and rain. Nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go but up. Dangerous wind and lose, yeah.
Yo. Morning, Forrester.
With all the trouble in the world we see, sometimes we need a little reassurance, please. Somebody just lie to me. Lie to
Where all the Asians at? Free China.
me. Lie to me. Tell me everything's just the way it ought to be.
Where all the Russians at? Free Russia.
And all of them that criticize, mama, they don't know. And all of them that criticize, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know about the fire we burning every day. Or the reason why we smoke, we just releasing the pain. No, they not know about the struggle we face every day. Trying to feed the family on a minimum wage. The nights are getting long and these days are short. The youth want peace, Babylon want war. Somewhere a poor young mother she cry. Herself to sleep, somewhere a soldier die. Rest in peace, yeah, Babylon.
I put some jalapeno on my burger.
Fire, enemies rest in peace, yeah, you a liar. Consumed by hate and greed, I'm a freedom fighter. Don't fuck with me. Nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go but up. Dangerous with not to lose. Nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go but up. Dangerous with not to lose. Oh, my people. Never forget. My back's in the ground.
And the Middle Easterners can't even protest, man. They're gonna get shot dead in the street. What the fuck? That should be happening in Russia too. It was famous in China with Tiananmen Square. I think a guy got ran over by a tank. Terrible. Where does all the money in your government come from? Yeah. Shit, I wouldn't want to protest either. Shit. Hell no, I ain't going out there to protest. Y'all crazy. How are we supposed to get free when we try to protest? See, that's what makes America, that's what makes Europe and America so great. They're not living with that backwards type thinking type shit. Kind of feel sorry for y'all, but ain't nothing I can do about it. That's why I don't like watching the news. Turns out it was Mossad agents or something. I don't know what that's about, man. I'm not too educated. And all these worldly problems. I had my own life. I had my own problems, and my own problems fucked me up. Even the Africans, too. Even the Africans can protest like that. Stuff wild, man.
Know them because they had sacred attention. So I decided I want to do sacred attention as well and find some of these norms, like a distribution network that makes sure nutrients get to every single cell. So how does nature create this abundance for all? I want to talk about two things. One is a culture of care, and one is a culture of generosity. So in the Bitterroot, where I live, it's western Montana, by the way, in the beautiful Bitterroot Mountains. And this is what it looks like when we go hiking, when we go backpacking. And, you know, I leave perfectly good trails sometimes to go up really, really high.
Maybe if we invite them over, they'll open up a little bit.
Do you know what the tree islands are in the subalpine? They're amazing.
Didn't that happen with like Joe Biden? Like he invited the president of China to come over, and then they was like cleaning up the streets.
Place. And what happens is they get started because a bird lands on a rock and drops a seed in its feces. And then the lead tree gets started, and that creates a windward.
Why clean up the streets, though?
And the leeward is where organisms can shelter from
He
the
probably
really
already
harsh
knew
conditions
anyways.
up in the subalpine.
Could have just left it dirty.
And I can too. I mean, I've run out of water up there. And I have looked for tree islands and gone in, and they are wet in August, September, mossy. It's unbelievable because they hold those snowdrifts so beautifully. That's me in one of the tree islands. Yeah, like I will never forget to fill my water bottle again. Please.
Pioneers.
But seriously, at the base of these, down.
Whether we adapt by simply building higher walls or whether we can do something more ambitious. Now, Canada was amongst the first to hear the wake-up call, leading us to fundamentally shift our strategic posture. Canadians know that our old
I still see
comfortable
Filipinas
assumptions that
washing their
geography
clothes
and alliance memberships
by
automatically
hand. I'm
confer
like, what the
prosperity
fuck?
and security, that assumption is no longer valid. And our new approach rests on what Alexander Stubb, the president of Finland, has termed value-based realism. Or to put another way, we aim to be both principled and pragmatic. Principled in our commitment to fundamental values, sovereignty, territorial integrity, the prohibition of the use of force except when consistent with the UN Charter, and respect for human rights. And pragmatic in recognizing that progress is often
Yeah, it's about human
incremental,
rights.
that interests diverge, that not every partner will share all of our values. So
They're in
we approach
Davos,
progress
Switzerland.
strategically with open eyes.
The World Economic
We
Forum.
actively take on the world as it is, not wait around.
We shall
for a
own
world
stuff
in
and
which
be
to
happy.
be. We are calibrating our relationships so their depth reflects our values. And we're prioritizing broad engagement to maximize our influence. Given
Life,
the
liberty,
fluidity
and the
of
pursuit
world
of
at the moment,
happiness.
the risks that this poses, and the stakes for what comes next. And we are no longer just relying on the strength of our values, but also the value of our strength. We are building that strength at home. Since my government took office, we have cut taxes on incomes, on capital gains, and business investment. We have removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade. We are fast-tracking $8 trillion of investments in energy, AI, critical minerals, new trade corridors, and beyond. We're
This
doubling our
jalapeno
defense
ain't even
spending
hot.
by the end of this decade, and
They
we're
picked
doing
it too
so
early.
in ways that build our domestic industries. And we are rapidly diversifying abroad. We've agreed a comprehensive strategic partnership with the EU, including joining SAFE, the European Defence Procurement Arrangements. We have signed 12 other trade and security deals on 4 continents in 6 months. The past few days, we've concluded new strategic partnerships with China and Qatar. We're negotiating free trade pacts with India, ASEAN, Thailand, Philippines, and Mercosur. We're doing something else. To help solve
That's the
global
good dude
problems,
from Canada.
We're pursuing variable geometry. In other words, different coalitions for different issues based on common values and interests. So in Ukraine, we're a core member of the Coalition of the Willing and one of the largest per capita contributors to its defense and security. On Arctic sovereignty, we stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future.
Oh shit. Yeah, we all got to get along, y'all. They just they just fighting over Ukraine
So we're working with our NATO allies,
like they have done in the
including Nordic
past.
Baltic Gate, to further secure the alliance's
That's messed
northern
up, but,
and western flanks, including through Canada's unprecedented investments in over-the-horizon radar, in submarines, in aircraft, and boots on the ground.
It's about insecurity
Boots on the ice.
or money.
Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our
Depends
shared
on what side you're
objectives
coming
of
from.
security and prosperity in the Arctic. On plurilateral trade, we're championing efforts to build a bridge between the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union, which would create a new trading bloc
I got a red
of
pepper over here.
1.5 billion people.
Yeah.
On critical minerals, we're forming buyers clubs anchored in the G7 so that the world can diversify away from concentrated supply. And on AI, we're cooperating with like-minded democracies to ensure that we won't ultimately be forced to choose between hegemons. and
Hot damn, that's hot.
This is not naive multilateralism, nor is it relying on their institutions. It's building coalitions that work, issues by issue, with partners who share enough common ground to act together. In some cases, this will be the vast majority of nations. What it's doing is creating a dense web of connections across trade, investment, culture, on which we can draw for future challenges and opportunities. Argue the middle.
That'll light you up.
Because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. But I'd also say that great powers Great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms. Middle powers do not. But when we only negotiate bilaterally with a hegemon, we negotiate from weakness. We accept what's offered. We compete with each other to be the most accommodating. This is
What is a hegemon? Is it in the
it's
dictionary?
performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination. In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice. Compete with each other for favor, or to combine to create a third path with impact. We shouldn't allow the rise of hard power to blind us to the fact that the power of legitimacy, integrity, and rules will remain strong if we choose to wield them together.
Hegemony.
Which brings me back to Havel. What does it
Hantavirus, what
for
the?
middle powers to live the truth? Well, first, it means naming reality.
Oh, there's viruses transmitted from rodents that cause pneumonia
Functions as advertised. Call it what it is.
or
A system of
hemorrhagic fevers.
intensifying
What the?
power rivalry for the most
Kill the
powerful
rats, man,
pursuit
kill
of
the
interest
rats.
Using economic integration as coercion. It
Hegemony.
means acting consistently, applying the same standards to allies and rivals.
Herpes. Oh,
When middle
hell
powers
no.
criticize economic intimidation from one direction but stay silent when it comes from another, we are keeping the sign in the window.
HEG.
It means building what we claim to believe in. Rather than waiting for the old order to be restored, it means creating institutions and agreements that function as described. And it means reducing the leverage that enables coercion.
This dude's
That's
smart.
building a strong domestic economy. It should be every government's immediate priority. And diversification internationally is not just economic prudence, it's a material foundation for honest foreign policy. Because countries earn the
HEG.
right to principled stands by
Hegemony, there it is right there.
to retaliation. So
Preponderant influence or authority over
Canada has what
others.
the world wants.
Man, what the hell? I thought it was more complicated than
We
that.
hold vast reserves of critical minerals. We have the most educated population in the world. Our pension funds.
So the New World Order is like authoritarian or something?
In other words, we have capital.
Preponderant
We also have a government.
preponderant
with immense fiscal
influence
capacity
or
to act
authority over
decisively.
others. Domination.
And we have the values to which many others aspire.
I thought it was more complicated than
Canada is
that.
a pluralistic society that works. Our public square is loud, diverse, and free. Canadians remain
What
committed
the
to
hell?
sustainability. We are stable.
I'm
A
bleeding.
partner in a world that is anything but. A partner that builds and values relationships for the long term.
This table
We have
dangerous.
something else.
Did I just get a paper cut? I just paper cut myself. What the hell? That hegemony is dangerous.
For more than adaptation. It calls for honesty about the world as it is. We are taking the sign out of the window. We know.
I just paper cut myself with a dictionary.
We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy. But we believe
It's a sign that hegemony is dangerous.
Better, stronger, more just.
I'm just retarded.
This is the task of the middle powers. The countries that have the most to lose from a world of fortresses and the most to gain from genuine cooperation. The powerful have their power. But we have something too. The capacity to stop pretending, to name reality, to build our strength at home, and to act together. That is Canada's path. We choose it openly and confidently, and it is a path wide open to any country willing to take it with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, beautiful blonde women. I love them so much. The real European women.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister. I don't think I've seen many standing ovations at Davos, so that was interesting. You said there was a phrase in your speech where you said sovereignty now is the ability to withstand pressure. Isn't Canada almost uniquely vulnerable to pressure because of the extent of your trade dependence on the United States?
Well, the proof is that we have been able to withstand the pressure, and there has been considerable pressure. I'll give you a couple of facts. We've actually created more jobs since the tariffs were put on than the United States.
Yeah.
Absolute number.
Yeah.
Economy is growing at the second fastest rate within the G7. That's not there. There are pockets of extreme pressure without question in Canada. But headline, we're reacting. The second thing, and it's a fundamental point, is the recognition that we can give ourselves far more than any foreign country can take away. There's lots of efficiencies in having one Canadian market, the $1 trillion of domestic investment, and building these partnerships abroad, all of which are bigger returns than what's been lost. That's not to say we would rather not lose it, but we can withstand the pressure, and we are.
And I was interested that you said basically the old world's not coming back. So you're not seeing this as a period where you just have to get through a
Damn, homie, I gave myself a paper cut.
That is our view, and we regret it, but we're not going to sit around and mourn it. We're acting, and we're acting in a way both that's in our interests, but we believe in a way with others that's building imperfectly in steps a new system. I'll give you one example on handback, which is we are members of trade agreements.
Look it.
1.4 billion people around the world. So we have the most extensive
Paper cut out of nowhere. I'm
we are
like, what
trying
the?
with others to bring some of those networks together. The most prominent example is the
I'm fragile.
Partnership in the EU, acting as a bridge. It's not a direct benefit for Canada, but it is a benefit for Canada that these groups come together. And Ngozi is here, consistent with the WTO rules.
It's that hegemony.
That way, we're building back out amongst willing partners.
That hegemony cut back.
You talked about the need not to put the sign in the window anymore, to pretend that things are still the same. Do you think, to put it directly, the NATO alliance is still doing that, still pretending it's the old transatlantic partnership, when it's really kind of going?
Look,
Transatlantic partnership.
Clearly, NATO.
It's really kind of going
right now, and the first response to that test has to be to respond in a way that ensures the security of the Arctic in a robust way.
Yeah, you tell him, big dog. You tell him.
All
brains matter. Yeah, your brains matter.
We have been making in recent years. It's a point that I made at the NATO summit back in June, which seemed like a pledging summit, but also was to get NATO policies in the right direction. But I think in the immediate term, one of the imperatives is to reinforce things that Canada is doing, Nordic Baltic 8 are doing, the UK are doing, other NATO partners, France included, in a comprehensive way that provides much greater security in the Arctic. This is the test, and so I wouldn't say the NATO sign stays in the window, but we've got to meet the moment.
I clean myself out sometimes with apple cider vinegar, water, and lemon.
But you've just been to the other great power, to China, and I think people are very intrigued by seeing that meeting, and some people say, kind of, that's a mistake, really, because you're going to make yourself more dependent on China. They're not that benign either. The US will be very annoyed. What's the defense of what you're doing?
The Chinese government's annoying.
The first thing is to say it's not a defense. It's an. I know the way you framed the question, but it's offense. It's building out. It's something positive as opposed to against. We're for something as opposed to being against.
Why?
The second is.
I don't understand why.
Guardrails and
why they gotta be like that?
Calibration of relationships in my remarks. That's what I mean by it. But within those clear guardrails are huge opportunities in energy, both clean and conventional. Obviously,
probably because they're at the tip of Eurasia.
Financial services, all of which is mutually beneficial. So it's additive. And look, it's the second largest economy.
It's where they came from.
Largest trading partner. We should have a strategic partnership with them within those guardrails, and that's what we've achieved.
And it is an interesting reversal, though, because I think certainly during the Biden administration,
it's where they've been the whole time.
Sense that the Western world was trying to decouple from China or de-risk.
They branched out though. They branched out. It's just weird how some of them Egyptian stuff look Asian.
Because there are other risks is less of a thing.
You need, again,
With some of those Egyptians,
you need a web
Asian.
of connections. And to miss out in that web.
Did they
some
come
of
from the
largest
Silk
ones,
Road or
United
something?
States, we already have that. China, India, Mercosur, European Union, that's a mistake. That's not managing your relationships properly. That makes you stronger, makes you more resilient. And then on top of that, I'll give you again, I'll appeal since it's in the headlines to the Nordics. Nordics plus Canada, it's 20% of global GDP. It's not the first thing people would realize, but that relationship, which is deepening for security reasons, because we're like-minded, those are the types of partnerships that I think we'll see more of.
And you got a round of applause when you said something strong about standing on principle on Greenland.
I had a dream I was cutting my
We can find an off-ramp on that.
My beard.
I'm sure you'll speak of it, but put it this way, if there isn't an off-ramp, where does this go?
I strongly believe that there's a better outcome that come from the discussions that have been catalyzed in an unusual way, admittedly, but and we absolutely stand by the principles that I
and having anxiety about leaving the house. I still have anxiety about leaving the house. I'm all fucked up in the head.
Security, yes, of Greenland, but more broadly of the Arctic. Canada is foursquare contributing to that. We're at the start of a major.
I've totaled 3 vehicles and it fucked me up in my mind.
NATO
My psychology is like all
intensively in order to
messed up.
As well, prosperity for the people of Greenland. In the end, it comes back to the people there, and there are opportunities to do that in ways that would strengthen all of the alliance.
And when President
Because
Trump
I
says,
actually care, but like on alcohol, nobody cares.
China, is that for real?
Alcohol will make you lose your soul.
I would say that there are threats. Russia is without question.
Weed is better. Weed is superior.
Without question. Russia does lots of
By
horrible
far,
things,
unless you don't like it.
and I'll take the
Some people, they can
opportunity
handle
to,
their alcohol, I guess. Set it
condemn
down.
their unjustified
Leave it.
and, horrific,
I've had enough.
assault on Ukraine, almost at its 4th year.
And then some people, they're all like, go. I don't feel it yet. Go.
We have
When does it feel good? Go. And then it's like, oh man, it done blacked out.
Adding to our submarine fleet, adding to our air fighter fleet.
At least with weed, when I fucking take a puff, I feel it and it's stimulating my mind.
And why we will work with our NATO partners. The threat is more prospective than actual at this stage in terms of actual activity in the Arctic, and we intend to keep it that way.
Another big issue that's going to come up this week.
I wonder if Asians really like weed though.
Peace.
I heard they legalized it in Thailand.
I'm not sure whether it's for Gaza or for the entire world, but apparently Canada's been invited.
I love seeing some Asians get
We
high.
have been invited, and let me start by, I think we should recognize the progress that has been made.
Russia don't like weed either, do they?
And at least
Damn, man.
towards the end of the first phase of this process.
It's like the only
And
cool
the
part of Asia
activation,
is
if I can put it that way,
India.
Of the process to set up the board of peace is the start of phase 2.
I seen this fine Indian woman live streaming the other day. I subscribed to her channel. She looked really pretty.
Our view is
Like the
we need to
prettiest
work
Indian
on
I
the
ever
actual
seen.
Structure of the vehicle you just referenced. Is it for Gaza? Well, the UN resolution, Security Council resolution 2803, references a board of peace for Gaza. That's where we see it becoming immediate.
The Hindu,
To be designed in that way.
At the Mata Party, Mata Party.
Other needs around
Mata
that.
Party.
First point. Second point, it needs to coincide with the immediate full flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza. We are still not where we need to be. Conditions still are horrific. So that needs to come alongside.
Yeah.
We think there's aspects of the governance and the decision-making process that could be improved, but we will work with others, obviously work with the United States, because we will do anything that we can to improve the situation, the horrific situation there, and to move onto a path to a true two-state solution.
There's a suggestion you can get permanent membership of the Board of Peace by ponying up $1 billion. You going to write a check for that?
We would write checks and deliver in kind to improve the welfare of the people of Palestine. But we want to see it.
Man, they don't fuck Palestine up, man.
Those outcomes promoting peace, and so the mechanics and how it works that way.
That whole religion stuff where they fight each other because they different religions make them look stupid like some gang members.
Agree with him, condemn globalism a lot, and I suspect
they're fucking cousins.
You would be
they're literally
a
cousins.
globalist. You worked for Goldman Sachs, I believe. You were a central banker.
A bunch of people done dropped their religions, man. Y'all still fighting over religion and it make y'all look stupid. It's a dominant. It's a hegemony. It's a religious hegemony.
Understanding how the world works, having appreciation for other cultures, understanding the connections, and being able to, or at least appreciating ways that how we connect, whether it's through technology, trade, investment, culture, can enrich our lives, and that's a good thing, and also help solve problems. Being detached from where you live and the broader needs of society.
Sound like hegemony, the same thing as authoritarian.
I don't know that the G word is the one.
Oh, I just saw communist.
What we're finding, to go back to the points I was making, is that there are a number of like-minded countries that want to work through partnership to achieve those goals for their citizens and for the world more broadly. The call is for more to recognize what's really going on right now, and to pool their resources to the benefit of citizens. So it won't be global. It won't cover the globe.
Autobahn, yeah, Autobahn.
Be more powerful.
German, Swiss, or Austrian expressway. Hell yeah.
Here's a look at today's live coverage on the C-SPAN network.
Authoritarian.
President Trump will speak at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, following reaction by world leaders on his aims toward Greenland. Then at 10, the House gavels in to consider a rule for legislation being debated this week, including codifying states' ability to use food assistance funds to support pregnancy resource centers. On C-SPAN 2 at 7 a.m., watch members of the British Parliament question Prime Minister Keir Starmer about domestic and foreign issues. And at 10, we'll have live coverage of Supreme Court oral argument, looking at the legality of President Trump's attempts to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. And on C-SPAN 3, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee considers holding former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress for failing to comply with a congressional subpoena to testify after photos were released of the former president with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The hearing will be live at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can also watch all of these events on C-SPAN.
Characterized by or favoring the principle of blind obedience to authority. Characterized by or favoring concentration of political power in an authority not responsible to the people.
Across the country. Coming up this morning, Amy Howe with SCOTUS blog previews oral argument in the Supreme Court case challenging President Trump's attempt to...
Man, authoritarian and hegemony sound like the same thing, man.
We'll also talk about House Democrats' efforts to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, the role of ICE, Trump foreign policy goals, and other news of the day. First with Illinois Democratic Congresswoman Robin Kelly, and later with Tennessee Republican Congressman Matt Van Epps. C-SPAN's Washington Journal joining the conversation live at 7 Eastern this morning on C-SPAN. C-SPAN Now, our free mobile app, or online at cspan.org.
Mother, give me strength. Mother, give me courage and strength.
Republican North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis joined foreign ministers from Finland and Canada to discuss peace in Ukraine and its war.
I already have the wisdom to know the difference. I just need courage and strength.
In the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. This was part of the 2026 World Economic Forum held in Davos.
Mother God, Mother God. Mother spirits, mother spirits, mother spirits, father spirits, mother spirits, father spirits. Sure, yeah, because nature is
Forum in Davos in 2026.
incestual. It's like, oh, like only your father or your mother matters. No.
Most watched Davos of the last couple of decades.
It's the galaxy, nigga. It's the universe, nigga. It's multiverses.
We have Donald Trump arriving.
Parallel universes. What? Nah. It's the Earth, the sun, the planets, the Earth. Stop praying to people and get some energy from the other planets. That's the whole reason why we're alive. It's like they protect us more than people do.
Talking about Ukraine and the path to peace in Ukraine. Coming into this week, many of
They say a lot of rocks get sucked into Jupiter. It's like this giant planet that's like half gas or something.
In Ukraine, however,
And because it's so big, it sucks in rocks, so it's actually protecting us from disaster.
The more we hear about Greenland instead of Ukraine.
You think that a man or a woman is responsible for the solar system?
On the live stream,
That just sounds
I think
insane.
we're going to have a fascinating discussion, a really a top-notch panel that we have here today. I'll introduce them now, and then we will get into.
But Joey, we created the nuclear bomb. We harnessed little energies and made it huge like that.
Kirill Budanov is the head of the president's office of Ukraine.
Don't you think there's people out there as like beautiful aliens?
The foreign minister of Finland, Alina
It's
Valtonen.
possible.
Thank you very much
What
for
if they
joining
like
us.
go around organizing dysfunctional type solar systems to make them better or something? Like, let's just put this over here. Let's just put that.
The senator for the great state of North Carolina, Tom Tillis. Thank you for coming, sir. To start with you, Mr. Budanov.
I don't know, man. I don't think so, man.
This is
I don't think so, man.
Incredibly important thought moment.
I don't think so, man. Why is there like rogue rocks just floating in outer space that kill dinosaurs and shit? Like how? Like I don't get it.
Likely outcome, and
Why would humanity go through so much pain of natural disasters coming from outer space type stuff? Like I don't really think you have to push a rock
Everyone can hear me. Thank you.
For planets to receive some type of damage. Like
This is a very interesting question where we are.
nature is weird, man.
As of today, as of now.
It's like all the parasites and the bugs and people getting worms and from drinking from the river, like over there in India, and then they go blind.
And I would like to remind everyone that this is the most bloody.
That is a nasty fucking river. Don't drink muddy water.
Terrible war in the territory of Europe since the Second World War, and this is.
How do they
definitely
clean
one
it?
of the
They ain't
bloodiest
cleaning it. I don't understand, man. It's ignorance, man. We're ignorant.
The world, of the world after the Second World War.
I know how to make a water filter. You just stack sand and charcoal and a whole bunch of stuff like gravel, like in this,
Definitely not true.
and then you just collecting the water dropping at the bottom.
We are making an effort.
I've seen it, but I never made one.
And on the part of the United States, there are efforts, whether people like it or not like it, but there is movement, and it is real.
That's a Russian dude, Criollo
able to be
Budanov.
successful in the short term. A lot will depend on the Russian Federation, and you understand who we are dealing with. I don't think I need
Head of the
to,
presidential
say
administration
more
of
about.
Ukraine.
Summing up in my introduction, I will say directly, we are moving, and I am cautiously optimistic, and this is why the kind of phrase I would use in this particular situation. Thank you.
Minister Valtonen, if there's any country apart from Ukraine that understands, I guess, Russia and Russia's history of aggression, I would argue it's probably Finland. And we've seen many meetings in recent weeks of European leaders to discuss the conflict in Ukraine and where we're headed. What's your best guess for where we end up and what
that will mean for Europe? Where do you think this conflict?
They want some type of land exchange.
Well, thank you for the introduction, but the only
That's
thing I have to
obvious.
correct is that,
They don't want to
yes, we
bust
do
out
have,
the nuclear bombs.
quite
So
some
it's like
experience
they
with
got
Russia
people
and,
just
Russian aggression over the course of the past, not only decades, but years, hundreds of years. But I still don't understand Russia, and I certainly don't sympathize with the imperialistic ambitions of that country that's apparently still is ongoing. Now, we would hope for peace, but for a peace
stuff
to
drives
last,
me nuts.
it needs to be just. It needs to be genuine. Unfortunately.
Y'all started the bullshit.
www.
No, they started the bullshit.
Because seeing is believing.
Buying or selling a home has
Normal people had nothing to do with it.
Who work with matters. I partner with Homelight to help our clients win.
That's why normal people feel like they just want to live their lives and
President putting out a statement reading and
can't even think about it because it wasn't their fault.
And we are all looking forward to welcoming him in late July. The White House also
I feel sorry for the Ukrainian women and the good Ukrainian people and the Russian women.
A wide range of policies.
Those are the ones that suffer when their kids die. Their adult offspring.
Big congrats.
Congrats to them, and also congrats to these two, although for completely different
Young
reasons.
men
I don't
dying,
believe that they're
and
significant
who
others.
really suffers in the
Jason
end?
Fielder's
Women
slides on
do.
your screen are headed to
Making
the
women
Hall.
depressed
Beltran and Andrew Jones have earned their spots
for the rest of their
in the
life.
Hall of Fame. Both
And when weed ain't legal over there, what if they turn to alcohol? They're gonna drink themselves to death, just like my mama did.
seasons in the majors, earning 9 All-Star.
Commute easier and keep
Pisses
your
me
family
off.
safer. Prepare better for the day and week ahead with AccuWeather's proven superior accuracy. On TV, AccuWeather.com, and the AccuWeather app.
Find out if you're getting pulled under on your car insurance. President Harry Truman end the war with Japan.
Free the weed, man. Free the weed. It look like the alcohol companies are like what's standing in the way.
Meeting with Winston Churchill and Joseph
The ignorant, alcoholic loving
After the fighting
fuckers.
in Europe ended in May, the Allies turned their attention to Japan. War still rages
I mean,
in the
for
South Pacific.
hundreds of years, for like over 100 years, they called us potheads and hippies or whatever, or
In an invasion,
lazy people.
for that fall that we would be fighting.
No, and then it turns out that people that like weed are actually the bigger thinkers. They think bigger. They're not so close-minded. They're open-minded.
If there is a land invasion, estimates of Allied casualties range from 250,000 to 1 million, with even greater losses on the Japanese side. A successful bomb test would be a powerful negotiating tool for the president that could force Japan to surrender rather than face nuclear annihilation.
We're hoping that something this horrendous would shock the Japanese into surrendering.
Man,
10 days before the bomb test at Jornada del Muerto, Hubbard again.
We've had silver up over $88 an ounce, okay? It was just 2 months ago, we were silver was up over $60 an ounce for the first time. It's
It was a lot like Baja style, like in Portugal, which I grew up. So it was super fun. I felt like home in the beginning. Then more sandy, and still have to improve a bit in the sand. But super happy. This is
nobody fucking subscribes. I stream about video games. I did the farming simulator stuff, and nobody fucking subscribed.
The Spaniard did have one small puncture and got a thorn stuck in his arm at one point, but he concluded that losing a little bit of time today was probably good for his starting position tomorrow.
Then turns out I was Googling it yesterday. Only 0.3% of YouTubers actually get paid a lot of money.
That he is adopting a conservative approach to the start of this.
0.3%. It's like a man.
He was also mightily impressed with Ventura, who caught up to him during the stage. He said his young teammate was killing it.
It's better off to sell stuff than to try to make money off of views, is what I'm saying.
And, in case you're curious, it was he who had the right line here.
That's why you see so many people with their fucking Cash App donation, Venmo, PayPal type stuff. Like you can throw them some money or whatever, like donate, because it's like it's damn near impossible to make money on YouTube from
We have had the
views.
same top three over the first 3 days. Ricky not quite able to hunt down Sanders and Canet.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, I tried to make a push and get up to the front to gain some, you know, bonus time. But
So that, like that's what I'm saying. Like where's all the Asian people at? Like I could at least be getting some Asian, some Indian viewers. But no, I guess the algorithm doesn't show them that stuff. They only want to they just trying to show them stuff that's in their own language. So unless you download like different alphabets, different languages, and type that in,
Once when he was swerving to avoid a camel. That let Sanders catch up.
you know, the stuff that Mr. Beast started doing, he started doing
Of bonus time though left Canet second on the stage.
making videos in other languages so he can make more money from other countries.
And so the day belonged to the world champion Daniel Sanders. Chucky
It's
collecting his
crazy.
10th Dakar stage win and snatching the overall lead after showing his
That
team
dude
how
crazy.
it's done up at the front.
We're sitting behind and just learning, I guess, from me. So
Everybody's crazy
really
in
good
their own
pace
way,
up
though.
front. Really good to the refuel, and then with some tricky stuff after that. But it was a really good day. A lot of mix of terrain and changing all the time, so we did pretty good.
Saudi Arabia,
46 seconds between
Dakar,
the top three, with Howes, Sharina and Branch all within
Monster
4 minutes.
Energy, Honda,
Ventura was the top dog in Rally 2,
HRC.
with Doherty just behind him in 8th. Well, remarkably, Sanders is the first defending champion to lead the Dakar since Breivik back in 2021. He leads Canet by just 30 seconds, with Breivik at 2 minutes 18 and Sharina at 4 minutes 41. And on the subject of Tosha Sharina, we are now going to take a closer look at the Spaniards' quest to conquer the world's
They all have
toughest race.
headbands on to protect their eyes from sweat. Makes a lot of sense.
Stream Racer Network live without a cable package. Anytime.
Yeah. Racer Network, Racer TV, Racer Plus. What?
Watch it, feel it, live it. Sign up now.
Ugh.
Need cash fast?
I need some water. Too much caffeine, man.
$50 instantly. No credit
My
check.
brain is dehydrated.
Download Bridget for free today.
When you look at your grocery bill, is it so high it knocks you off your feet? It's time to stand up and save with InstaSeal by Bell & Howell, the world's first vertical vacuum sealing system designed to save you money. Unlike ordinary storage bags that trap air in, spoiling your food, InstaSeal removes the air completely, extending freshness up to 6 times longer. Now that's saving. With just one touch, it auto-feeds the bag to seal, pauses to vacuum out the air, then continues to perfectly seal. When you add it all up, InstaSeal will help you seal and save hundreds on your family's grocery bill. Get the complete InstaSeal system for the special TV discount price of just $99.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free. Order now.
To order, call 1-800-308-4806. That's 1-800-308-4806, or order online at buyinstaseal.com.
We always go for the win, and this year I'm going to try again. I had a big crash. I broke my collarbone before the race day, and while racing the second half with a broken shoulder and being able to reach the finish in second place is almost a dream. Just 2 years ago, I was a rookie at the Dakar, and this time it will be my 4th participation. Of course, I keep improving. I'm learning from all my teammates who have much more experience. I try to be like a sponge and learn from everyone, both in navigation and riding. And I think that every year we become more mature and gain more tools to perform. I don't feel any pressure. It's a privilege to be here. It's what I've dreamt of my whole life. And yes, there is pressure, but I love it. I love being where we are. We fought our whole lives to be here. So pressure, I think the real pressure was before, where we didn't have the resources to come and race. Now it's time to enjoy it. Before, when I started rallying, I was a bit afraid of the dudes because I had never ridden in them. But now I feel comfortable. Coming from Enduro, I don't really like rocks, but I think that can also be one of my strengths. In any case, I enjoy every type of terrain. Each one has its own challenges, but I couldn't choose a favorite terrain.
Enduro.
Right now, I think the reference is Daniel Sanders. He's the benchmark. He's winning at the moment, and in every race, we're fighting each other. So it's a privilege.
YouTube don't care about people being real. All they really care about is showing off.
You never know. Sometimes everything seems perfectly prepared, but the Dakar is a very, very demanding race. Anything can happen.
So if you want to get a lot of views on YouTube, you just need to start showing off. Just being real, it don't work.
All pushing in the same direction, and I believe we can achieve it.
Just show off. Show off. Get an enduro bike. Go mud digging. Bike riding. Just show the fuck off. Being real, it don't work. It don't work. There ain't no Asians in here. I ought to have 100 viewers. There'd be a bunch of Asians.
Today we will discover the Napatian civilization. We will travel back in time to the 1st century BC. In Hegra there is 141 tombs. The Napatian actually believed as a nomad, started in the desert, they understood the surrounding, they understood the land around them, and with that, they saw the potentials of the land. And that's make them
Oh man, I'd rather have some weed right now. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? Y'all gonna legalize hemp, but we get some fucking toxic hemp at the store? Where's the real fucking hemp?
It's the biggest one. It's a 21 meters high.
That shit toxic, man. That Delta 9, Delta 8, THCP, whatever fuck is not real.
In the Napatian time believed.
I would rather smoke some regular weed, Reggie. Back in the day, that swag. Regular brown weed. That's what I was like, that's what they ought to be selling. What, they got too much THC in it? They give you some fake THC. See what happens with the stupid loopholes? With the stupid arrangements, they were like, oh, we don't want y'all to have THC. Because it's actual medicine.
Napatian was really good stonemasons. We can see that in their
It heals your body. Protects your brain.
He will climb to the top of the stones, making a place to stand in the top of it.
It's just ignorance. Ignorance. Some people that never smoked weed, they think it's like the devil or something. They have no fucking idea how it's actually medicine. They refuse to listen. Or they're just taking out bags of money and don't even care about helping people. So they have no soul. They sold their soul. Yeah, I used to say that. Hollywood used to sell their soul? Hell no.
Wondering how it's still standing today.
When you don't help people, when they actually want something, the majority of people that want it, like 80%, and they're not getting it, that's really tragic. That's what's terrible on your soul. And then people probably have to live with that. They ignore it their whole life. Make a bunch of people sad just for one person to get a lot of money. Straight bullshit.
It'll be quite the task for the Franco-Belgian crew who opened the road for the 400-kilometer stage where they'll arrive here at the
Where all the Asian viewers at? Are you Asian? Where all the Asian viewers at? Where all my Asian viewers?
It makes all the water that we drink and cook with cleaner and healthier.
Are you Asian? Are you Indian? Are you Russian? You European? You American? You Canadian? You South American? Brazil? You African. We're all the...
Now, the urgent pay service from Pumpkin Pet Insurance.
It doesn't fucking work, Joey!
Ask your vet about Pumpkin or visit pumpkin.care to get a free quote.
I gotta...
You deserve a mobile bank.
I need to download this fucking Chinese alphabet letters.
$300 in overdraft protection and early paydays. Go2Bank, the mobile bank that works for you. Open an account at gotobank.com.
Be like Mark Zuckerberg over there learning Mandarin because he want to do some shit for China and get paid a lot more money. They got their whole social media that Mark Zuckerberg made for them.
Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering 0 interest and 0
He learned Mandarin. Hon Xin Xin Yong Meng Cheng. Oh, sure.
free shower, complete with a custom seat,
Holy shit.
slip-resistant floor.
I'm changing the channel, man. I'm tired of this shit, man. Is Washington Journal on yet? I'm a fucking loser.
Customized to the way I wanted it for the price that I wanted.
I refuse to be fake. I'm being myself. I refuse to be fake. I see people being fake. I subscribe to them anyways, but I'm never gonna try to have a real conversation with them because they're just it's just remarkable how fake some people can be just for money. You know, treat YouTube like Nickelodeon. You actually get some views.
On the phone anymore. Professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deeper.
Hi, you guys. Today we're gonna make a. That's fucking fake.
Most men over 40 look into the mirror.
Damn, I need some particle for men. I was looking for my stuff.
We are in the process of negotiation, as I said in the
I got some witch hazel.
I'm here today, from Miami, where we were doing preparatory.
But I don't know where it
with
went.
The staff of President Trump, with whom I don't think I need to remind you. We are in the process. And this process is, thank goodness, it's not happening without us. But going back to the issue of Russia, we need to remember that we are not able to kick them out from this process. We have tried. It didn't work. And this is almost year 4. In fact,
I don't know
year
where it
12
went, Kim
of
folk.
this war. We need to understand there are some unpleasant people and some very unpleasant countries. But we're not going to just close our eyes to it and it will go away. Unfortunately, we have to deal with them. Unfortunately, we have to deal with them. We have had to deal with them and we'll have to deal with them again. I'm grateful to the United States.
YouTube, I'm trying to make $100,000. That's not very much.
I'm ignoring you.
I'd be a lot happier if I could make $100,000, YouTube.
Helping us. We will need your help.
Y'all are not helping me.
Really need your help and your support.
How do y'all expect people to be happy if they ain't making money on trying to do this?
And then, well,
Y'all are making a bunch of people unhappy. Should y'all make a separate platform so it could divide the people at least a little bit? So maybe they'll get more views on another platform because y'all trying to put too much on one platform. It's just like Facebook. People are literally lost. They're lost. You keep showing them the same videos over and over again. Google, come on, man. Wake the fuck up.
The reconstruction of Ukraine.
We're over here getting old. It's like waiting on GTA 6 to come out. We're gonna be 55 years old by the time that game come out.
Ask you
Hello?
one question, which is that what is it? Do you
Shut the
think
fuck up.
Vladimir Putin will be satisfied with
Joey, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Yeah, you shut the fuck up too. Everybody shut the fuck up.
that Ukraine in the foreseeable future will not?
I ain't saying shit. I'm like that woman that be live streaming and like she don't say anything and then she hold up a sticker that says something like she's not gonna talk until somebody pays her money, then somebody pays her money and she still don't talk.
The hostilities at a potential date not too far in the future.
Це питання перемовин, знову ж таки.
It's a matter for negotiation.
I'd rather eat some good
Yes.
pussy. Beautiful, fine woman with a nice thick ass.
As regards NATO, it is clear that for the Russian
Between
Federation,
25 and 45.
it is
the most used
Tap that
argument they
ass.
have been
Buy some
using
massage oil
over
at the
the
sex
years,
store.
once again, this is 12 years now.
Not fucking
And
baby
they
oil, not
justify
Diddy
the
oil. Get that
aggression,
shit out your brain.
against Ukraine with this. And it all started with the occupation of the autonomous Republic
Last
of
time I bought
Crimea,
some massage
when
oil,
their
it was actually hemp
justification
oil
was,
made from weed.
Two justifications. First,
Weed seeds.
it is the
Yeah,
deep
before they
ties
even
with the
legalized
Russian
it.
nation, which just sounds
Hemp
so
seeds
strange.
was legal back in the day.
The main one they were emphasizing is to secure the Russian Federation from NATO, to protect the Russian Federation from NATO.
This
because
social media
they have,
sucks because I don't know who the fuck I'm talking to. I can't open a little video app. Like I can't open their little video tab. Like I can't even talk to y'all. It's like I'm talking to myself. This shit's stupid. And then you see people actually talking to other people. They had to download another app.
The anti-NATO rhetoric in a more superficial way, but they did. And then we went into the stage of the
Why they leave
Russian
us like
invasion in 2022, when one of their main justifications was the reason, well, they were stating that they were saving Russia from a NATO enlargement to the east, which according to, i.e. Ukraine's accession, and according to their logic, their rationale, this was an ideological, existential threat to the Russian Federation. So will Russia insist on preventing Ukraine from joining NATO? Of course they will insist. What will come of this? Well, let's see. Any kind of negotiation likes quiet. But of course we will all see the outcome.
And I want to ask you your analysis on Vladimir Putin. I know you're going to tell me who knows, and you can't understand the Russian perspective. But what do you think his ultimate goal is? Is it genuinely the reconstitution of the great Russian Empire, the Soviet Empire? Do you think that if he achieves at least some of his aims in Ukraine, that the Baltics could be threatened? Next.
Well, I guess he has been quite outspoken about his goals. He published his writing, was it back in 21? And that certainly not only was about re-establishing the Soviet Empire, but certainly also limiting also the posture of NATO and all this. But I have to say, because Russians use this narrative of NATO being a threat to them, which obviously is completely bollocks. If you
technical term.
Yes, if you now think about when Finland and Sweden joined NATO 3 years ago, there hasn't been less troops behind the Finnish border to Russia in the past 3 years than basically for decades. If NATO was such a massive threat, why have the troops in Ukraine? Why not bring them back to the border? So of course that is simply a narrative that Russia has been pushing to justify this and that, that they operate, which is fully against the UN Charter. And what comes to the previous discussion, I actually do agree both with Senator Tillis and Minister Anand in this. Well, yes, we need a just peace for Ukraine, but at the same time, we need to be fortifying NATO. And that is because I'm not seeing the threat of Russia going away with any peace deal, especially if it's not a good peace deal. The Russian threat probably will be there for, I don't know, for the foreseeable future, and it will be affecting the entire transatlantic alliance. We do see the Russian threat, certainly from the Arctic. They are active in Africa, and of course they are active where, you know, they have the possibility and the interest to do so. But together, if we invest decisively into our defense and deterrence, then certainly there's nothing that can keep us from winning. And also finally, On the question whether Russia was winning on Ukraine, certainly no. I mean, if you were winning, you wouldn't be abducting children or having people freezing their apartments when it's minus 15 outside. They're certainly not winning, and I think Ukrainians have all the right, not just to assume that they will have the freedom that they have been fighting for, but that will come. I'm more than certain about it.
I've been having some interesting discussions here in Davos last couple of days, and one of the arguments I've heard is that NATO is done, NATO is over, and that we are seeing the just dissolution of this, as you say, very important treaty that has lasted since, for a long time. And that we're seeing the birth of something new. Maybe call it a board of peace, call it what you like. But how much do you think that argument rings true to any of you on the panel? So.
Well, Canada's a founding member of NATO, and maybe I'll just start, and I'm sure others have valuable things to say. I will admit there is no doubt that NATO is facing challenges now as it seeks to ensure that there's unity in NATO, as well as the concept of collective defense and deterrence is actually effective in practice. That doesn't mean that NATO dissolves. It means that NATO rises to the challenge to meet the moment. And I have been continuously pressing the point that NATO, as the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, needs to not only have a focus on the eastern flank of Europe, but also on the northern and western flanks, because as we all agree, the threat from Russia in the Arctic and beyond is undeniable. And if NATO is going to meet this moment, it needs also to develop the strategy to do so. And that's what my conversations with the Nordic Five and Mark Rutte, the Secretary General, have been about. What is the strategy to meet the moment? NATO needs that strategy.
Feel free.
Can't the world just get along, man?
Of, NATO defunct or not. I'm going to throw another question in there, and I'm going to address it to you, Mr. Budanov. How important, from your perspective, is the role of China? Because if you listen to the US administration, but if you also look at the facts, I've talked to the heads of several Western intelligence agencies who say that if China was not supporting Russia today with technological, military, logistical support, Russia would not have been able to continue to fight up until this point. So how important, from your perspective, and others can weigh in, is the role of China in this conflict?
Thank you very much for this question. Your question, I guess, is more philosophical in nature, to be honest. How now in 2026 can I answer the question what things would have been like if China wasn't there or if it had a different role? I think you will agree with me. Now, as regards the real role that China is playing in this whole process, I'm going to give you a few examples, and I will let you make your own conclusions. If we think back, the very start of the large-scale invasion after 2022, in the world media, there was a lot, around springtime, summertime 2022, there was a lot of articles and a lot of videos, a lot of opinions as to how from China to Russia there were military planes and they were bringing washing machines, computers and other items. And all of this, and all of this was happening because all of a sudden there was a critical requirement for all kinds of microchips and controllers. And at the very start of the war, China wasn't selling them, and that's a fact. Then later, China understood how this can be used, and Russia, as the aggressor, found itself under more sanctions than before, and they were looking for solutions. And obviously, they were using business channels, and of course, there was a silent agreement from above, and they were able to find a reliable partner for these reliable channels of supply of electronics and electronic components. Then they had all kinds of manufacturing machines, manufacturing materials that they used to make various
I guess I should make a Zoom
components for
account.
weapons. So this cooperation was intensifying, and Russia was paying huge money for it, much more than any other country would have paid before, but they had no other option. And China started taking advantage of this situation. Can you blame them? Well, I guess it's a philosophical issue. They had an opportunity to make these windfall profits. After this, there was the political part. They started having even more influence over the Russian Federation. The stricter the sanctions outside, the further Russia was moving into the embrace of China, which can now be seen with the naked eye. What are we going to do with this now? That's the issue. That's the main issue. Because now, where they are exchanging military technologies, Russia is providing military technologies. China, by the way, has not given them even a single unit of military equipment. Whether you like China or not, they have not handed over to Russia a single unit of military equipment. That's a fact. Have they used it for profit for their country, to increase the influence of the Russian Federation? Will they do it? Will they eventually absorb the Russian Federation? Yes. Yes, this is happening. And it is very painful for the Russians to acknowledge, but they know it very well. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Well, first off, I won't get into details because it was a question back. Russia is losing. The reason why the Russians are at the table, Putin's at the table, is because we've proven that NATO technology is superior to them. We've proven that their non-commissioned officers are inferior and going to take a decade to actually get back to the level that we enjoy every day in NATO. China is, I agree, not supplying material, but they're supplying support. And they know that a successful Russia probably has an end, very similar to what was suggested here. The Chinese people are also taking advantage. I know we're going to stay on Ukraine, but they're taking advantage of this moment with NATO, the tumult that we're experiencing in NATO. It's not a secret that they have an open door to someone from your neck of the woods just recently to talk about economic ties. I think that that's probably an appropriate discussion to have among world leaders, but make no mistake about it, that's just another economic tentacle that China wants to spread across the globe to ultimately not democratize the world, but to see the world evolve into their end state. So I think that we have to be just realistic about it. We want good, strong economic ties with China, with other nations, but we also have to recognize them for what they are. They are cheering Russia along, at least silently, and are hopeful for the day that they succeed there. And success in Ukraine immediately threatens Moldova, the Balkans, and we know the game plan. This is fairly straightforward. I'm going to be traveling to Moldova after the Munich Security Conference. We have National Guardsmen there. We have a relationship with Moldova. Thank God they won the elections there. Russia tried to do everything else through hybrid warfare that's occurring across the globe. They did everything they could. It's a very positive sign that the Moldovan people got what they wanted out of their election, but make no mistake about it, Russia's malign influence, with China being a cheerleader, is an everyday occurrence since February of 2022.
I want to give the audience a chance to ask a question. Maybe I'll go to the very back to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. I'm from Ukraine, the only one Ukrainian representing global shapers here. Davos 40. I have the question, first of all, thank you for being so supportive. Thank you for standing with Ukraine. That's something we need very much. But the question is about how or what should Ukrainians, I don't know, Office of the President, youth, community, NGOs still do to mobilize this international support? I mean, to reach real fair peace, because I'm, of course, questioning if this might be a real one. I'm sorry for being a bit critical.
Okay.
I wish it would be.
So, the question is, how should NGOs,
Mobilize
how could
national support in terms of reaching real fair peace.
Okay. Would you like to answer?
No, generally, I would say from the international community.
Okay. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, let's start with you, please. Please, let's start with you.
Yeah, well, didn't want to hijack the answer, but well, today, for instance, I've used every bilateral I've had to also rally support for Ukraine and at the same time rally support for the UN Charter, the territorial integrity and the sovereignty of nations. And I think, depending a little bit how you put it with the partner across the globe you discuss it with, I think it's very easy to find friends for exactly these two principles. And even if you add the freedom of people or human rights, that's of course not interpreted the same way everywhere around the world. That's certainly that we should be doing. But unfortunately, we have seen that over the course of the past 4 years, and Russia is really making use of this, since global attention has shifted to so many other places too, away from Ukraine, then perhaps that has taken something away from the sort of the feeling of urgency to help Ukraine. Whereas again, we saw last night with the strikes in so many cities across Ukraine. I mean, the need is there now. So I think it's an obligation not just to Ukraine but to the global community to rally support.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to add a bit more. Look, if we proceed from the fact that we are a civilized country, which Ukraine definitely is, if we live in a human-centric paradigm where life, freedom of a human being are above all, and then everything else comes after, everything else is subordinated to that, then we begin to understand everything that we heard in your request. It contains the answer. You represent civil society and you ask how can we help, etc., etc. Please help our community. I mean, Ukrainian communities exist in every country of the world. As a member of intelligence service, former member, I can give you a lot of numbers, but I'm sure you know them already. Work. Unite them. Ukraine needs help. That's no secret to anybody. We need help with everything. We need donations for weapons. We need donations for help for the wounded. We need support for the people who have lost everything in this war. And of course, ending with, maybe this doesn't sound pretty, but we need influence from these communities who have been living in these countries for a long time. We need influence from these communities over the policies of these countries. This will help us.
Thank you very much, and I think that is the perfect moment on which to end this fabulous panel. I want to thank my excellent panelists for your contributions. I want to thank those of you watching on the live stream and everybody in the room, and happy Davos. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was interviewed by Fox Business anchor Maria Bartiromo and talked about President Trump's continued push for U.S. control over Greenland, which Mr. Bessent said had become more valuable in recent years. This is from the 2026 World Economic Forum held in Davos, Switzerland.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation with the Treasury Secretary of the United States, Scott Bessent.
Maria, good to be with you.
It's great to see you, Secretary. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. We so appreciate it, and there's so much to talk about, and we are going to be rolling on this live in about 20 seconds on Fox, so we want to make sure that everyone knows that this is a live program, and we will be taking this as it is happening with the Secretary this morning. I know there's a lot of conversation this morning about President Trump's considerations and thoughts about Greenland, and we will get into that, as well as the U.S. economy and the global economy as well. So, Secretary, there's so much to cover. Let me kick it off right now with just that, because I wanted to talk about trade and tariffs. It seems that the president certainly has set the tone before he even arrives tomorrow. So we'll get your thoughts on that, as well as AI, about the NATO alliance, as well as the macro story. And I will also bring up something that you mentioned earlier, which is the Draghi report. The reason that I'm strolling here is because I wanted the programming to catch up with us, so that we could begin live at 8:30. And in fact, we are beginning right now. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I'm sitting now with the U.S. Treasury Secretary. Secretary, let me begin on trade and tariffs, because President Trump seemed to set the tone of conversation even before he has arrived by threatening tariffs on our European allies until they support his plans to acquire Greenland. How do you justify taking over a country when, in fact, Denmark and Greenland have said they are not interested?
Well, Maria, I think the president has a very strong view on Western Hemisphere security and believes that the U.S. should not outsource our national security. He believes that Greenland is essential for the Golden Dome missile shield. And he also, the president, as usual, it's the move after the move that as part of NATO, I think the president is worried that if there were an incursion into Greenland, the U.S. would be called upon to defend Greenland. Greenland's becoming more and more attractive for foreign conquest, and he very strongly believes that it must be part of the United States to prevent a conflict rather than getting the U.S. engaged in ex post into a hot conflict.
So Greenland is not expected to be able to have the capacity to stop any potential missiles that could hit the United States. In other words, Greenland without U.S. ownership makes the United States vulnerable. Is that the president's main complaint?
Well, I think it's that, and that the U.S., there's the opportunity for the U.S. to become embroiled ex post into a kinetic war if another country moved in on Greenland, and no country is going to assert control of Greenland if the U.S. controls Greenland.
Secretary, what do you want to say about the response here? I mean, the European Union is pushing back, saying we are not going to complete our trade deal with the United States because of this. They have already called an emergency summit for later on in the week about this Greenland situation.
Well, I would say exactly what I said after Liberation Day last April, when the president imposed tariff levels on the whole world. I tell everyone, sit back, take a deep breath, do not retaliate, do not retaliate. The president will be here tomorrow.
Trailers.
He will get his message across. I believe he is going to have meetings. And again, also have an open mind that, why this rapid response in terms of, this is a no. And by the way, Maria, this has been in the minds of American presidents for more than 150 years. For more than 150 years.
So the vulnerability was seen even back then.
Is that New World Order? This is that New World Order here.
As there are more trade routes that move near Greenland becomes more and more valuable.
Secretary, we're already seeing a reaction from markets. You've got rates spiking in the United States, up 7 basis points on the 10-year right now. You've got rates spiking in Japan. What do you want to say about this market reaction that we're seeing?
Well, Maria, I think it's very difficult to disaggregate the market reaction from what's going on endogenously in Japan. So Japan, over the past 2 days, has had a 6 standard deviation move in their bond market. That would be what has happened in the Japanese JGB 10-year would be the equivalent of a 50 basis point move in US 10. So I think it's very difficult to
say no to social credit score. They're just trying to copy China. No.
I've been in touch with
Free
my
China
counterparts in Japan, and I am
free the Chinese.
Sure that they will begin saying the things that will calm the market down.
So what are the plans for tariffs on Europe then?
Well, we're in the midst of completing a very good trade deal for both sides.
Poor Russians.
The plan is to go ahead with the trade deal. Of course, the president has said that he, on February 1st, will implement a 10%
Hello,
tariff
Alan.
If the Danes do not want to give up Greenland, and it is on the 8 countries that sent troops to Greenland.
So what do you want to say about the NATO alliance then? I mean, Denmark has been a long ally, the European Union united against any move. How do you progress with what looks like a strategic move for the United States, but also preserve the alliance, the NATO alliance?
Well, look, I think that the NATO alliance is very safe, sound, and thanks to President Trump, it's never been more secure. When President Trump came in his first term, the European countries and Canada were not meeting their spending quotas as percent of GDP. Now they are. They got a lot of catch up to do. And Maria, to put in perspective, the United States of America since 1980 has contributed $22 trillion more dollars, or spent $22 trillion more dollars on defense than all of NATO. So roughly the same size population, and we have spent $22 trillion more. That is 2/3 of our outstanding government debt. The Europeans have been spending the money on social welfare, on roads, on education, and it's time for them to pay more, which they've agreed to do.
Yeah, many of them have already stepped up, like Poland.
Everyone has except Spain.
Okay. And do you not feel that a security deal in the Arctic would suffice in terms of Greenland?
Well, I think what we're seeing, we're seeing with a base that we have shared with the UK for many years, the UK is signing the island over to Mauritius. So again, I can see why the president believes that for U.S. engagement, we do not want another Diego Garcia on our hands.
This is a very important point that you make. In terms of tariffs,
Paul.
how much money has been generated from tariffs already? Certainly the hysteria over President Trump's tariffs has died down since April of last year. What is the total running rate right now?
Yeah, it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars, Maria. The U.S. for the fiscal year, which ends September 30th, we had a fiscal contraction. For the calendar year, we had a very large fiscal contraction. So we cut the deficit by about $200 billion. The important number is the deficit to GDP. So calendar year 2024 was 6.9%, the highest we've ever had. I mean, we inherited a mess. 6.9%, the highest we've ever had when the U.S. was not at war or not in a recession. So 6.9%, calendar year 2025, 5.4%. I have called for getting that number down to 3% by the end of President Trump's term, and I think we're on the way.
So you've been using that tariff money to pay down the deficit then?
It feeds into the general account, and it's been a big part of it. And again, last year, the U.S. 10-year bond was down about 40 basis points. I believe France was up about 40 or 50. Germany was up 50 or 60. U.S. bond market had its best performing year since 2020. And again, I think that Japan situation, that the market, again, had a 6 standard deviation move, and that was happening.
Put money in a treasury bond to get their money back.
I think the rest of the world,
it's like to make money.
German rates are up, French rates are up, Japanese rates are up a tremendous amount.
Secretary, I want to get to the macro story in a moment, but let me stay on tariffs for one more moment, because we could be hearing from the Supreme Court imminently. And of course, the Supreme Court will issue a ruling on the president's use of tariffs during a, quote, emergency, the IEPA reason you've actually issued some of these tariffs. What are your expectations for the Supreme Court? We could hear from them this morning or even tomorrow morning. If they rule against you, what are the alternatives to raise that kind of revenue, hundreds of billions of dollars that you've already been able to do?
Well, Maria, I think it's very unlikely that the Supreme Court is going to strike down a president's signature economic policy. It didn't early on with the
CD
ACA,
bonds at the bank,
also known as Obamacare. They reinforced that recently. And the real problem here is President Trump
it's a way to make more
used
money.
IEPA for negotiating leverage for geopolitics in emergency situations. If we look back, the first IEPA tariffs were fentanyl tariffs. So on Mexico, on Canada, on China, and if fentanyl is not a national emergency, I don't know what was. 200,000 Americans dying every year.
That's messed
and
up.
Because of that, Mexico came to the table, Canada came to the table, China, who exports or the precursor drugs, have all come to the table, and we're seeing a substantial drop in protecting the American people. On October 8th, the Chinese government announced rare earth export controls on the entire world, not just the U.S., and
test your drugs. It's not safe out there.
Industrial meltdown. President threatened 100% tariffs on China if they did this. My Chinese counterpart, who's been a very good interlocutor, had gone quiet for a couple of days. Chinese immediately came to the table, and they rolled the export controls out a year. And President Trump insisted that I negotiate on behalf of the whole world. So, in terms of the U.S. leading, this is what U.S. leadership looks like. He was able to use IEPA tariffs to negotiate for the entire industrial world. So I think it's very important here.
I'm glad you mentioned China. I'm going to come back to China, but while we're here, what is the latest timetable on the much anticipated bilateral trade deal with China?
I had a meeting with my Chinese counterpart here in Davos last night, Vice Premier Hu Feng. He told me that just this week they have completed their soybean purchases, and we're looking forward to next year's 25 million tons. I suggested maybe he'd want to buy a little more, because President Trump always brings that up with Party Chair Xi when they speak, and they've done everything that they said they're going to do.
Are they having rare earth magnets flow, or are they putting restrictions on that? Because there were reports last year that the Chinese were saying, we will send the rare earth, but we're not sending them to any companies that are tied to the defense sector and the U.S. military.
They are flowing as expected. We are in a fulfillment rate that's in the 90s, which I think is quite satisfactory.
So they didn't stop, even if it's a defense company? Because I believe they tried to do that with Japan as well.
Well, Japan and China have gotten in a skirmish over some remarks that the Japanese Prime Minister made. So the U.S. is immune from that.
Okay, let's talk macro. The U.S. economy seems to have been doing much better than many expected. We had a 4.3% read in GDP last quarter. How would you assess the United States economy?
I think that it is very strong and likely accelerating. And Marie, just to be clear, that 4.3% GDP was private sector GDP. So, or actually after the fiscal contraction. So the real number was 4.7. The government contracted by 0.4, so that got us to 0.3. So that is pure private sector GDP. And President Trump's economic policy, tax deals, trade deals, and deregulation. The deregulation, which I think is probably the most powerful part is really just starting to kick in now. So we have the tax deal, one big beautiful bill done on July 4th, which no one said could be done. And it contains the full expensing for U.S. corporates on equipment, for factories, for ag structures. On the other side, for working Americans, the president's signature policies: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, interest deductibility, auto loans if you buy an American car. So we're seeing this wonderful balance between industrial America and Main Street America. I am also the IRS commissioner, and we did not change the withholding guidance. So we're going to see, as commissioner, I can see there are going to be very substantial tax refunds coming to working Americans in the first quarter. They'll change their withholding. They'll get a bump up in real incomes. Because of the expensing, we're seeing 12, 14% CapEx growth in the U.S., and historically, you have never seen a CapEx boom without seeing employment follow.
Yeah, you've got a CapEx boom and a productivity boom as well. 4.7% is much better than so many people expected last year. Are you expecting the economy to, at one point, hit 5% as well?
Well, the Atlanta Fed GDP number, which is a very noisy number,
play PlayStation.
is now reading 5.3.
I don't have an Xbox.
But remember, the fourth quarter GDP included the Schumer shutdown. So some of that will be pushed into the first quarter. So I'm expecting...
Buy more offline games. Buy the offline games.
North of 3.
All the online games are draining our soul.
As you said, productivity is very high. And we have measured inflation and observed inflation, and with the observed inflation, I think we can see.
I'm done grinding online,
and that will trickle into
I've had enough.
The CPI and the PCE, which the Fed looks at.
Well, it's a good point, because there is still a perception that prices are still high.
Well, prices are high. The Biden administration was a wipeout for working Americans. That the price level increased by 21, 22, 23%. But our friend Jason Trennard, the strategist, has something called the Common Man Index, and that is what do working Americans buy? So basket of groceries, insurance, rent, car payments, and that was up in the mid-30s. So very difficult, other than with energy. The president, through Drill Baby Drill, has gotten gasoline prices down to below $2 in many states. National average is below $3, even if you throw in the outlier of California. And so
I don't want my car connected to the internet. I don't want no software updates on the car, trucks,
affordability
vans.
is two pieces. Affordability is price level.
Buy some backups while you still can.
Real incomes have gone up every month since President Trump took office. And as I said, I think we're going to see a big year for real incomes this year.
Wow, and you said in terms of the tax refunds, are we talking about thousands of dollars that people will be getting as a result?
We could see, for working families, for each wage earner, we could see up to $1,000 per wage earner.
Okay. You said that prices are still coming down, but they're still elevated. The president announced many things, a litany of things, just in the last 100 days. And I want you to walk through some of these things and tell us why they're important, because he put a ban on large institutional investors purchasing single-family homes. He asked for $200 billion purchases of mortgage-backed securities, and he put on a proposal for a 10% cap on credit card interest rates. We know credit card interest rates are always soaring, up 28, 30% in some cases. That's going to cut into earnings of the bank, certainly. And he also teased something about 401ks, that you would be able to tap into your 401k to then buy a home. Walk us through these things. Why are these so key in your view?
Buy a house off Amazon.
Prices?
A Home Depot shed.
Why don't we start from the beginning? So.
The first thing was the ban on large institutional investors purchasing single-family homes and the purchase of mortgage-backed securities.
Yeah, so the ban on institutional investors in single-family homes, for those of you who are not American, in the U.S., pre-Great Financial Crisis, institutional investors did not participate in the single-family market. So post the financial crisis, institutional investors hoovered up single-family homes. They continue to do it, and there's a there's an unfair tax arbitrage there.
That's messed up.
You and I have a mortgage. We can deduct the mortgage amount. Institutional investors can deduct the borrowing amount, but they can also expense any repairs and depreciation. So we think that it is a good idea to have them out of the market. We are going to give guidance at some point to see what is a mom and pop that someone, maybe your parents for their retirement have bought 5.
There ain't gonna be no more mom and pops. We're not even making babies anymore.
We just want to push everyone else out. And what's important here, you will hear some misinformation that says, well, institutional investors are 1%, 2%, 3%. That is true. Having been in markets for 35 or 40 years, markets are made on the margin, and institutional investors are much higher in boomtown markets.
I could be a grandpa
like
by now.
Like Atlanta, like Huntsville, Alabama. So they've done that. In terms of having Fannie and Freddie buy MBS, the mortgages are 2 parts. It is the 10-year bond yield, and it is the spread between mortgages and the 10-year yield. So the purpose of that is to narrow the spread.
Okay. The cap on credit card rates is expected to cut into bank earnings between 5 and 18%. Your reaction?
We've done a lot this year. Bank stocks are at a new high. That through my position on FSOC, the Financial Stability Oversight Council, and the 3 bank regulators, the Federal Reserve, the OCC, the FDIC, we have done a lot to deregulate banks. Their earnings are way up. More importantly, it has increased their lending capacity. Oliver Wyman's numbers, not mine, estimates that there's $2.5 trillion of extra lending capacity. The other thing that has been a focus of this administration and a focus of mine is small and community banks, because what happened after the great financial crisis, all the regulations from Dodd-Frank, we had too big to fail. But then with small banks, you were too small to succeed. This regulatory morass, we have lost more than 50% of the small and community banks. And they power small business lending, real estate lending, and ag lending. So we are trying to bring that back.
Yeah, it's a great point, because farmers really need the lending of these small community banks. Look, Secretary, I want to get your take overall on your thoughts on what you've done so far, because the president back last year, right after the inauguration, I sat down with the president and I asked him what he wants the economy to look like in 4 years when he's done. And he was very clear. He said he wants private enterprise to rule the day. 1 year later, you've taken a 10% stake in Intel. You've taken a stake in NP. Now, I know that these are national security issues.
Wasn't that because of crypto, the banks was going out?
Defense contractors,
bank
don't
runs.
pay dividends, don't buy back any of your stock. You need to be fulfilling what the country needs in terms of producing a weapon. So what do you want to say to people who say, look, here is a so-called capitalist president and a Treasury Secretary, and yet it's not private enterprise running things. The president is telling the defense contractors what to do, and you've taken stakes in these companies.
A couple of things, Maria. I think the only good thing that came from COVID was it was a test run for what would happen if our supply chains were ever broken due to a kinetic war. So we saw that there are 5, 6, 7 key industries that we have to reshore. So everything you just said, rare earth magnets, we've got to get out from under China's grasp. The semiconductors, I would say that the single biggest threat to the world economy, the single biggest point of single failure, is that 97% of the high-end chips are made in Taiwan. If that island were blockaded, that capacity were destroyed, it would be an economic apocalypse. So we are reshoring the semiconductor industry to the U.S. With the defense contractors are no different than the systemically important banks. They exist, like the systemically important banks exist because of the backstop from the Fed, because of the regulations, and these defense contractors have let down the American people. They have let down the American people. They are 5, 6, 7 years behind on fulfillment of their contracts, and they exist because of the U.S. Department of War. So I do not think it is unreasonable to tell them that until further notice, you need to build more factories and buy back less stock. And by the way, Maria, these CEOs making $30, $50 million a year for failing the American people. So I don't see any discrepancy there. And as you said, everything on your list is national defense. And so once they get to some normalized level of backlog, I don't know whether it's 2 years, 3 years.
I thought they're going to start making semiconductors in Texas.
Removing those restrictions.
So what you're saying is you want private enterprise to lead the day, but when it comes to national security, the government will be a shareholder.
And again, a lot of this isn't private. You know, we have seen what happens when the free markets get kind of perverted. Because what happens with critical minerals, that several companies have tried to stand up critical minerals facilities in the U.S., and the Chinese come, lower price, undercut them, and then they're bankrupt. So we are going to put in a system, price floor, price ceilings, and when you talk about multilateralism and the U.S. leading, I just hosted at Treasury last Monday the G7++, so G7 plus Australia, plus India, plus Mexico, plus South Korea, and we are working at warp speed to create a critical minerals block where we can mine, process, and refine critical minerals, and China won't have this sword over our heads.
So how long do you think it will be until the United States is in fact independent in terms of the refinement of these minerals, independent in terms of oil, etc.? I mean, I know that the U.S. is the largest producer anyway, but do you expect this year, next year? What's your timetable in terms of the U.S. not relying on China for these things?
Well, obviously for energy, we are independent. We're an energy superpower, and I would say 18 to 24 months. I went down about 2 months ago to my home state of South Carolina, and in South Carolina, for the first time in 25 years, there's a producer there who made rare earth magnets. So they are starting to come off the supply chain. They believe that within 2 years, they can fulfill most of the rare earth magnet needs for the U.S. And then we also want to help our allies because the supply chain is important.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to say about sanctions, something else you've been working on, of course? What are you planning there in terms of Iran and the impact there? Do sanctions actually work? And the same question with regard to 500% secondary sanctions or tariffs on countries who purchase energy products from Russia.
Okay, so two things there. There are Treasury sanctions. And if you look at a speech that I gave at the Economic Club of New York last March, I said that I believe the Iranian currency was on the verge of collapse, that if I were an Iranian citizen, I would take my money out. President Trump ordered Treasury and our OFAC division, Office of Foreign Asset Control, to put maximum pressure on Iran, and it's worked. Because in December, their economy collapsed. We saw a major bank go under. The central bank has started to print money. There is a dollar shortage. They are not able to get imports, and this is why the people took to the street. So this is economic statecraft. No shots fired, and things are moving in a very positive way here. On the 500% tariff on the buyers of Russian oil, that is a proposal that Senator Graham has in front of the Senate, and we will see whether that passes. We don't believe that President Trump needs that authority, that he can do it under IEEPA, but that the Senate wants to give him that authority. And just to be clear, that we have Europe buying Russian oil still 4 years later. They are financing the war against themselves. India started buying Russian oil after the conflict began, but President Trump put a 25% tariff on them, and India has geared down and has stopped buying Russian oil. And then 3, China is a very large buyer of Russian oil, as they are of Iranian oil, as they were of Venezuelan oil. But guess what, Maria? No more Venezuelan oil for them.
So would you treat China the same as the others in terms of buying Russian oil with regard to tariffs and sanctions?
Well, we'll see what happens with this Senate bill and with the Iranian oil. That'll be up to President Trump.
Secretary, what do you want to say about artificial intelligence and the idea that AI efficiencies will likely kill jobs? A lot of people are worried about jobs. Do we have a plan in the U.S. government right now in terms of job creation in the face of AI efficiency killing jobs?
Well, Maria, we are seeing the record factory groundbreakings. That's why President Trump wants to bring back these precision jobs to the U.S. And historically, every productivity boom has led to job growth. Now, can there be some toing and froing in terms of people changing professions? I can't remember what the number is. Maybe you know it. 50-60% of the professions today didn't exist 30 years ago.
Well, it's a big number.
It's a big number, but it's something we're very cognizant of. We haven't seen it in the numbers yet. I think that it could be very different than what we saw with the China shock. The China shock was a blue-collar phenomenon. My guess is the AI shock might be a white-collar phenomenon. We'll see.
Secretary, as we wrap up here, a moment ago you said, look, you've been dealing with markets for a long time, your entire career. What do you think of markets today? I mean, the market has been rallying on the president's policy. Today, of course, we're seeing a sell-off. But do you think the markets are getting it right in terms of rallying on the president's policies going into this Davos meeting?
I try not to the extent I had success in the markets, it was not making short-term predictions. But I can tell you what has been very heartening for me. I don't have time to follow the markets as closely, but to the extent last year, year before, everyone said, oh, this is just Mag 7 stocks, it's not healthy. We've seen a big broadening out in the market. The Russell index of smaller cap stocks has outperformed. The S&P equal weight has outperformed. And I actually think that speaks to the economic recovery. We're seeing it across all sectors. Our friend Ed Hyman at ISI.
Yeah, I'm going to be a robot mechanic.
Corporate surveys are the highest that they've been since June 22. And I think you're starting to see it in all sectors of the market. And the market follows the economy. And again, I just think that we have the best place in the world. Come, build your factory, you have tax certainty, you have regulatory certainty, and you have energy certainty.
And of course, deregulation. And that was one point that I wanted to make before we wrap up here, that Mario Draghi wrote a report 2 years ago about regulation in Europe, and the fact that the largest market cap company in Europe is Novo Nordisk because of Ozempic, about $400 billion or so. And we just saw NVIDIA in the United States hit $5 trillion.
Damn.
Clearly, Maria, the innovation, the change, and the ability to adapt is in
They
the
learned
US.
about AI through
US
NVIDIA.
is
It was from video
innovation
game,
capital of
the
world.
video
I
game
don't think
industry
anything's
is what
gonna
helped them with
change
AI.
that. I was just asked in another meeting by some business leaders, what advice would you give to Europe? And I said I would operationalize the Draghi report, because the EU was supposed to cut down on red tape, but it is logarithmically increased it. When I talk to tech executives, they will tell me
I could have invested in NVIDIA. I was hearing about it like 2021.
That's not a great stat. I had a European businessman come to see me the other day. He said, Secretary Bessent, it took me 3 days to get an appointment with the White House and with you. It took me 90 days to get an appointment with Ursula von der Leyen, and we are one of the largest employers in Europe. So there's just a different mindset here, and I think the mindset has got to change. It's got to change to a growth mentality, and that's President Trump's invitation is we are growing, we're deregulating, and come and join us. The U.S. is going to host the G20 meeting next year, and on the finance track, we have identified the greatest financial risk as a lack of growth, because post-COVID, every government balance sheet has ballooned, and we have this gigantic government debt. There are two ways. You can either cut your way out of it through austerity, no voter wants that, or you can grow your way out of it. So we are inviting the world, come grow with us, prosper with us, and we can all do it together.
Secretary, thank you very much.
Good.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bassett, thank you so
Good.
much.
Thank you, Rick.
C-SPAN's Washington Journal, our live forum inviting you to discuss the latest issues in government, politics, and public policy from Washington and across the country. Coming up this morning, Amy Howe with SCOTUS blog previews oral argument in the Supreme Court case challenging President Trump's attempt to fire Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook. We'll also talk about House Democrats' efforts to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, the role of ICE, Trump foreign policy goals, and other news of the day. First with Illinois Democratic Congresswoman Robin Kelly, and later with Tennessee Republican Congressman Matt Van Epps. C-SPAN's Washington Journal. Join in the conversation live at 7 Eastern this morning on C-SPAN, C-SPAN Now, our free mobile app, or online at cspan.org.
Best ideas and best practices can be found anywhere.
Well, we have to listen so we can govern better.
Democracy depends on heavy doses of civility.
You can fight and still be friendly.
Bridging the divide in American politics.
You know, you may not agree with the Democrat on everything, but you can find areas where you do agree.
He's a pretty likable guy as well.
Chris Coons and I are actually friends. He votes wrong all the time, but we're actually friends.
So a horrible secret that Scott and I have is that we actually respect each other.
We all don't hate each other.
You two actually kind of like each other. These are the kinds of secrets we'd like to expose.
It's nice to be with a member who knows what they're talking about.
You guys did agree to the civility, all right?
He owes my son $10 from the bet.
And he's never paid. Don't fork it over.
That's fighting words right there.
Glad I'm not in charge.
I'm thrilled to be on the show with him.
They're not shows like this, right? Incentivizing that relationship.
Ceasefire. Friday nights on C-SPAN.
Border and immigration officials gave an update on operations underway in Minnesota, including their efforts to keep communities safe by removing violent criminal illegal aliens. They also discussed what they describe as heated rhetoric from local and state officials that they say dehumanizes their officers. The news conference is about 25 minutes.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Greg Bovino. I'm the Commander at Large for Customs and Border Protection Assets here in the great city of Minneapolis. I'm here to talk with you today about interior enforcement, border security, and making our communities and our nation a safer place. I'm joined by my colleague, Executive Associate Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Mr. Marcos Charles. Now, folks, let me be clear from the start that public safety in Minneapolis is not negotiable. When violent criminals exploit gaps in enforcement, gaps at that state and local level most especially, federal law enforcement has a responsibility to act. That is why we are here. And that is what this operation is about. Our operations are lawful, they're targeted, and they're focused on individuals who pose a serious threat to this community. They are not random, and they are not political. They are about removing criminals who are actively harming Minneapolis neighborhoods. For too long, residents have been told that enforcing our nation's immigration laws undermines public safety. In reality, the opposite is true. When the law is not enforced, violent offenders remain free. Criminal networks expand, and the community pays the price. Our neighbors, our citizens, our friends pay the price. Rather than confront that reality of which I've just spoken, leaders like Tim Walz or Mayor Fry have relied on heated rhetoric and accusations that distract from the facts. The facts are that federal agents are arresting murderers, rapists, child predators, cartel-connected criminals, and other individuals who pose a real danger to the people of Minneapolis. As these operations began and since, there have been constant attempts to interfere with lawful enforcement of our nation's Title VIII immigration laws here in Minneapolis. Officers have been violently and aggressively assaulted, objects have been thrown, and vehicles damaged. Despite that violence, enforcement has continued unabated. Our officers remain professional, focused, courteous, and committed to the mission. That mission, again, being Title VIII immigration enforcement. This effort reflects a coordinated federal approach. Agencies are working together under Title VIII authorities. Agencies like the United States Border Patrol, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and many other allied law enforcement agencies, FBI, DEA, ATF, and many others have came together under this operation, under this umbrella. We share intelligence and execute operations in a unified manner. That coordination is essential to effective enforcement and public safety. Since the start of this operation, we've arrested some of the most dangerous criminal offenders operating in Minnesota. In the entire state of Minnesota, we have arrested some of the most violent criminal offenders right here in this city. These are not minor violators or minor garden variety criminals. These are repeat offenders with serious criminal histories. Now, folks, before I came here today, I printed out a few individuals that I'd like to share with you. Individuals that were arrested since yesterday. These 3 individuals were arrested just since yesterday. Keep in mind now, these individuals were walking the streets of Minneapolis with impunity as of yesterday. We've got Hovai Kumaye, a illegal alien from Laos, a registered sex offender, convicted of sex offense against a child, including fondling and failure to register as a sex offender. This individual was walking the streets of Minneapolis just yesterday. This individual right here. It's very interesting that I haven't seen this individual or many others like him reported on very much by the local news media or the state news media. That's interesting. Let's don't quit there. No, you can't. Let's continue here. We've got Samuel Aravelo Hernandez, a criminal illegal alien from Guatemala, charged with rape and lewd or lascivious acts with a minor. Now, think about that for just a second. Rape, and then on top of that, lewd and lascivious acts with a minor. This individual was walking the streets of Minneapolis with impunity just yesterday. Let's don't quit there. Let's keep on there. We've got Annabelle Gomez, a criminal illegal alien from Honduras, previously arrested for criminal sexual conduct and domestic assault. Other convictions include disorderly conduct and driving under the influence of liquor. Walking the streets as of yesterday. These are just three that I decided to print out. There's a whole stack of them. There's a whole stack of these. As a matter of fact, when we look over the past year at the 10,000 that have been arrested here in Minneapolis and Minnesota, that stack is enormous. These are the kinds of individuals this operation focuses on. Individuals who escalate situations and endanger others. Again, our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues in Ma and Pa America. This is exactly why interior enforcement exists, to remove dangerous criminals from our communities, remove dangerous illegal alien criminals from our communities. It's also important, folks, to address a point that's often overlooked. Interior enforcement does not exist in isolation. It's not just about interior enforcement. It's a dichotomy here. It's interior enforcement and border enforcement. What happens in Minneapolis is directly connected at what happens at our borders. Interior enforcement and border security are intricately connected. For years, federal law enforcement was placed in a defensive posture, especially over those past 4 years. Agents were overwhelmed, processing massive numbers of illegal aliens coming into the country, often with limited vetting, minimal accountability, and few consequences. I think that's proven right here just by those three that I held up there. Time and resources that should have been dedicated to public safety were diverted to administrative processing, and criminal organizations exploited that environment. Over the past year, under the leadership of our President, Donald J. Trump, and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, that dynamic has changed. It's changed radically. It's changed more than I've ever seen in my over 3 decades in law enforcement. Border enforcement has reached historic levels. I actually called back to my home sector in El Centro today. They had 1 apprehension over the past 24 hours. 1 along that 75-mile stretch of border in El Centro alone. Last week, there were several days where they had 0 border crossers in that sector. That's the same thing across all 20 Border Patrol sectors. Very few crossings. Illegal crossings have dropped to record lows. Catch and release has ended. Consequences have been restored. Again, consequences restored. Because the border is now secure, law enforcement can do its job more effectively. Agents are no longer tied up processing and releasing individuals into the interior, individuals that we just talked about. They can focus on who is coming into this country, and just as importantly, identifying and removing those who should not be here. And that shift matters. It allows for meaningful vetting, targeted enforcement, and a renewed focus on public safety over paperwork. Public safety over paperwork. Border security provides operational control, disrupts cartel pipelines, and prevents criminal flow from reaching American cities. It also allows law enforcement to focus, again, on removing individuals who slipped through during years of failed policies and later committed serious crimes. What happens on the border doesn't stay on the border. Border enforcement and interior enforcement are 2 parts of the same mission. A secure border without interior enforcement leaves communities vulnerable. And interior enforcement without border control is unsustainable. Again, it's that dichotomous relationship. When both are aligned, the results are clear. Over the course of this administration, more than 10,000 criminal illegal aliens, as I said, have been apprehended here in Minneapolis over the past year. And in just the last 6 weeks alone, during this most current surge, 3,000 arrests of some of the most dangerous offenders operating in Minneapolis have occurred. 3,000. These are not technical violations, as I mentioned. These are individuals responsible for serious harm. Think about it for just a second, what the rape of a child actually entails. It seems as if that's glossed over by the media oftentimes. What does that entail, and what's that like? Think about that. Murderers, rapists, gang members, they're not the people we want in our community. This is what public safety looks like when the law is enforced consistently and professionally.
They was organizing on Facebook.
We will continue enforcing the law. We will continue making arrests, and we will continue working to keep Minneapolis safe. The mission continues at the border.
They used to just let people come over like they had to get their work permit.
Because that effective enforcement depends on both occurring at the same time. Let's make America safe again. Honor first. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Damn, I got a paper cut.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcos Charles. As Greg introduced, I am the Executive Associate Director for ICE Enforcement Removal Operations. Thank you for joining us. We announced the current status of Operation Metro Surge. As you know, the Department of Homeland Security has arrested over 10,000 illegal aliens in Minnesota since President Trump took office. Over the weekend and through yesterday's holiday, ICE arrested 113 illegal aliens in Minnesota. Some of the criminal aliens that were arrested, whose photos you see beside me on the monitor, include an illegal alien gang member from Laos with convictions for homicide and robbery, an illegal alien from Laos who's been convicted for sodomizing a 12-year-old girl and sexual assault, an illegal alien from the Marshall Islands who has 24 criminal convictions, including assault, domestic abuse, and theft. There's an illegal alien from Honduras convicted of 3 DUIs who has also been arrested for kidnapping, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and possession of a stolen firearm. An illegal alien from South Africa convicted of violating a restraining order and arrested for domestic violence, assault, meth possession, and DUI. We are currently also looking for 2 sexual predators who are at large in or around St. Paul right now. Lu Mao Ah, a criminal illegal alien from Laos who is wanted for sexually assaulting a child, rape, kidnapping, and domestic violence. And Kong Ming Bang, a criminal illegal alien from Laos who is wanted for sexual assault, gang activity, and simple assault. If you have any information about these 2 criminal illegal aliens or any other criminal illegal aliens, please call the ICE tip line at 866-DHS-2-ICE or visit the website at ice.gov to submit a tip. Since President Trump took office 1 year ago today, the state of Minnesota has released nearly 500 criminal aliens who were in police or state custody rather than turning them over to ICE for removal proceedings. Many of these criminals already have a final order of removal, which means an immigration judge has determined that they have no legal basis to remain in the United States. ICE currently has more than 1,360 immigration detainers on illegal aliens in Minnesota jails and prisons, and we are calling on Governor Walz and Mayor Fry to turn these criminal illegal aliens directly over to ICE to keep Minnesota residents in our community safe. If local officials, including those in the Twin Cities, don't want ICE to arrest criminal aliens that are at large in their communities, the best solution is to turn them over to us in a safe, controlled setting like a jail or prison, instead of releasing them back onto the street to victimize our neighborhoods, where your children go to school, where your parents live, and where you worship, shop, and spend time with your loved ones. The holiday weekend's arrests reflect ICE's commitment to public safety and responsible enforcement. When criminal illegal aliens threaten the Twin Cities or any other city in America, we act decisively to remove them from the community in a controlled and lawful manner. Our goal is simple. We're here to protect the American communities from people like the ones you see here on the monitor. Thank you.
For Commander Rubino, some of us in this room, this is A.C. Thompson with PBS Frontline, have followed you from city to city and documented your activities. How is what you're dealing with here different than what we've seen in other places?
Well, Mr. Thompson, thanks for the question. We've been in many cities, as you know. We've been in Los Angeles, Chicago, Charlotte, New Orleans, and now obviously Minneapolis. So what we've seen that's a bit different here is the organization of some of the groups. The groups are a bit better organized. They've got some excellent communications, and that coupled with a very poor response from the mayor and the governor. Those two things coupled together make that a difficult operating environment at times. And the reason I say that is I just came from Operation Catahoula Crunch there in Louisiana, in which state and locals, including the governor, the mayors, the police chief, worked in close concert for us to do what my colleague here, Marcos Charles, said, and that's remove violent offenders, bad people and bad things from the streets. And in doing that, I had one act of violence against Border Patrol, one notable act of violence against Border Patrol in a month. Here, I've lost count. I've already lost count of how many. I believe we had a vehicle ramming today. We had one yesterday in which two illegal aliens decided that it would be a good idea to ram Border Patrol agents and then take off. And in doing so, they hit a civilian vehicle as well. Those two were apprehended. So it's that collusion and corruption between elected officials and these anarchists that are intent on creating violence for law enforcement. You know, I see a lot of this that mirrors what happened in 2020 right here in this city when they decided to try to burn the city down. It's that same type of rhetoric, that same type of support by those elected officials. So that's very different than what I just witnessed in Louisiana, the place that I just came from.
Mayor Medina, question for you. We're on with Border Hawk. It's hard to get coffee in the Twin Cities without seeing
That George Floyd stuff.
ICE can't enter, but everyone else can, or restaurants or supermarkets. Based on what you shared today, what is your message to these businesses, these organizations that are obviously trying to push out ICE and your operation?
Sure. And this goes to anyone, not just those businesses and organizations. Don't fall victim. Don't fall victim to that heated rhetoric and those lies that are often spouted by, say, a Mayor Fry. Mayor Fry actually told his police force to fight federal agents in the city. And you should have even seen the look on O'Brien's face, Chief O'Brien. His eyebrows actually raised at that one. So don't fall victim to that. Our Border Patrol agents, our ICE officers, our parents, they're citizens. They enjoy the rule of law just like everyone else. So to deny them a cup of coffee or lawful commerce seems to be absolutely opposite of what we would expect in a lawful, orderly society. Did we like what happened with the church there a couple of days ago when individuals came in and disrupted almost violently a church service? Absolutely not. Same thing. We should treat each other with respect, dignity, and that is why we are here in this city as we take those violent criminals off the streets. That's respect and dignity.
This is for you as well, Commander Davino. At a press conference today, we heard from several local police chiefs who said that they support ICE, but that certain ICE tactics are making their jobs, keeping their own communities safe, that much harder. What's your response?
I would say that those tactics are born of necessity. What we do is legal, ethical, and moral. Everything we do every day is legal, ethical, moral, well-grounded in law. So I would impugn upon those police chiefs and anyone else, elected representatives, and you have to remember, many of these police chiefs do work for the Mayor Frys of the world, that turn over those illegal aliens, those criminal illegal aliens. You know, let me hold these up again, so it's just so we don't forget this, because it seems like it always gets forgotten. Rape, lewd and lascivious acts against a child. So Mayor Fry is having police chiefs worry about tactics while we're after these type of people. I think that they're asking the wrong questions and their priorities are misplaced. Let's work. Wait, I'm not done yet. Let's work together. We've said this from the very beginning. We want to work together with local police chiefs and the rank and file. And believe it or not, folks, we work very well together with the rank and file we have in every single city we've been to, whether that's Los Angeles, Chicago. A lot of rank and file gave us a lot of good information on a lot of good criminals, or a lot of bad criminals there in Chicago. And then we proved it again in New Orleans. Let's work together to take individuals like this off the street. Had we worked together from the very beginning, perhaps we wouldn't be in the city by the thousands conducting operations that those police chiefs, those mayors and those elected representatives refuse to partake in.
If I could just follow up, though, real quick. If I don't think the argument from a lot of people, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who doesn't want criminals who are alleged to do these things out of these communities. And no one wants that. I think where a lot of the criticism comes in is within the tactics that you see ICE and others engaging in, that it's ordinary citizens who are not sex offenders or rapists getting swept up in it. So what do you say to that?
Sure, where you're talking about these ordinary citizens, mom, pa, America, that get swept up in what I see. I'm out on the streets just as Marcos Charles here is. We're on the streets with our troops almost every day. And what we see when folks get swept up, as you say, oftentimes it's those agitators, those rioters, and now I call them anarchists.
Damn.
That actually cause mom and pa America to sometimes be near, at, or involved in a very tense situation when they shouldn't even be. There's no need for that violence that we see against law enforcement. And again, it seems as the only people that are really dialing down that rhetoric is the federal law enforcement entities that just want to conduct legal, ethical, and lawful law enforcement missions in this city to take out those violent criminals, bad people, and bad things. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
What is the current status of the officer that was involved in the shooting, is he on administrative leave? And then the second question is the local police today were accusing both ICE and Border Patrol of having a small group of people within the ranks that are causing these issues. What's your response to that? I don't know if you can answer that one. They're saying that it's isolated to a small group of agents that are causing issues.
So the officer that was involved in the shooting last week, or 2 weeks ago now, he's recovering. He's at home, recovering.
Is he on administrative leave or is he still involved in the operation?
He's at home recovering. Leave it at that.
And as far as the response to local police saying that it's isolated to a small group of your agents or officers that are causing issues?
So our officers that are out there, CBP, Border
I heard he got
Patrol,
$500,000 in
DOJ departments
donations.
that are out there, ICE, ERO, HSI, everybody that's out there is a professional. They're out there doing their job. They're everyday people doing a very hard job.
Even Renee's
trying to enforce
family.
the immigration laws in an environment where local and state politicians have been spreading rhetoric that dehumanizes these officers and agents.
Commander Davos, according to the Daily Caller, earlier today, Brooklyn Park police chief said that his department is receiving endless of calls from American citizens saying that their civil rights are being violated by federal agents. And the police chief also went on to say that some of his off-duty officers are also being asked for their immigration status, and one officer was boxed in. That's according to the police chief. I just wondered if you had a response for the Brooklyn Park police chief.
Sure. Again, our Border Patrol agents, ICE officers, and those allied federal law enforcement agencies are out there conducting Title VIII immigration, the Title VIII immigration mission. And I'll tell you, when you have a mayor and a police chief, O'Hara, that say call 911 when ICE or Border Patrol's in the neighborhood, and then they wonder why the 911 system is overwhelmed with superfluous calls for assistance when that is not true. So we're going to continue.
Hey, y'all got to get y'all passport, man.
And we're going to continue to conduct that mission, that legal, lawful Title VIII mission. And, again, I've been out with my Border Patrol agents. Marcos is out constantly with his troops. And what I see out there is a very professional, prudent, and thoughtful law enforcement action. And if somebody needs to use the 911 system, then do it. But let's don't encourage anarchists to utilize a 911 system that hurts other Americans that may need to use that system. A law enforcement professional should know that.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you, Russ. Thank you,
Thank you.
Hey, I gotta get y'all's passport, man. I got my passport right
Here's a
here.
look at today's live coverage on the C-SPAN networks. President Trump will speak at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, following reaction by world leaders on his aims toward Greenland. Then at 10, the House gavels in to consider a rule for legislation being debated this week, including codifying states' ability to use food assistance funds to support pregnancy resource centers. On C-SPAN 2 at 7 a.m., watch members of the British Parliament question Prime Minister Keir Starmer about domestic and foreign issues. And at 10, we'll have live coverage of Supreme Court oral argument, looking at the legality of President Trump's attempts to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. And on C-SPAN 3, the House Oversight
You get it at
and
the
Government
post office,
Reform
then you gotta go to
Committee
Walmart and
considers
take your
holding former
picture.
President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress for failing to comply with a congressional subpoena to testify after photos were released of the former president with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The hearing will be live at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can also watch all of these events on C-SPAN Now, our free mobile app.
Then she didn't
and
want me
at
smiling for my
cspan.org.
picture. She said she wanted me to look like a criminal. Put my head down.
C-SPAN, Democracy Unfiltered. We're funded by these
I thought that was
television
weird.
companies
She didn't want me to smile on my
including Charter
passport picture.
Communications.
Charter is proud to be recognized as one of the best internet providers, and we're just getting started. Building 100,000
You know, 'cause there's cameras
miles of new
everywhere.
infrastructure to reach those who need
Oh,
it
yeah.
most.
Charter Communications supports C-SPAN as a public service, along with these other television providers, giving you a front row seat to democracy. Coming up on C-SPAN's Washington Journal, Amy Howe with SCOTUS blog previews oral argument in the Supreme Court case challenging President Trump's attempt to fire Federal Reserve Board Governor Lisa Cook. We'll also talk about House Democrats' efforts to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, the role of ICE, Trump foreign policy goals, and other news of the day. First with Illinois Democratic Congresswoman Robin Kelly, and later with Tennessee Republican Congressman Matt
I just want to hear the
Gaetz.
people call on the phone. I want to hear
Starts now.
their opinions and stuff. Yeah. Let's talk some shit.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, January 21st. President Trump has just landed in Switzerland, where he'll take the stage at this year's World Economic Forum in Davos. We'll bring you live coverage of his speech once that gets underway. The visit comes amid renewed tensions over President Trump's desire to acquire Greenland from NATO ally Denmark. The president has not ruled out the use of military force and has announced tariffs of 10% against 8 European countries opposing U.S. control.
Damn,
of
it's
the
cold
island.
over there.
This morning, we're getting your views on the president's.
I heard there was
upcoming
camels
speech
over
in
there like
Davos.
3 million years
What should
ago.
his message be to world leaders?
It was a land
And
bridge
how do you think the Greenland debate affects America's role in the world?
during the last
Here's how to
ice
reach
age.
us. Democrats 202-748-8000.
We was in the ice age, y'all.
Republicans 202-748-8001, and Independents.
We was in the ice age for 3 million years.
202-748-8002. You can
What?
also send a text to 202-748-8003. Include your first name.
Oh,
and your
hell
city
no. They
state.
put
And you
Facebook
can reach us on social media, facebook.com/cspan and
and
at
X.
C-SPAN WJ. Welcome to today's Washington Journal. Yesterday, President Trump was asked about the future of the NATO alliance, and this is what he said.
Mr. President, are you committed to keeping the U.S. in NATO?
I've had such a good relationship. I've made it so much better, so much stronger. It's so good now. NATO is so much stronger now. I don't agree with a lot of the things they've done, but that was done before I got there. I think NATO's been good. Sometimes it's overrated, sometimes it's not, but we have a strong NATO. When I came here, we had a weak NATO. We had a NATO at 2%, and they weren't paying. You got a nothing NATO. NATO's, whether you like it or not, it's only as good as we are. If NATO doesn't have us, NATO is not very strong. I think something's going to happen that's going to be very good for everybody. Nobody's done more for NATO than I have, as I said before, in every way. Getting them to go up to 5% of GDP was something that nobody thought was possible, and pay. At 2%, they weren't paying. At 5%, they are paying. And they're buying a lot of things from us, and they're giving them, I guess, to Ukraine. That's up to them, but they're giving them to whoever they're giving them to, but they're buying a lot. I think that we will work something out where NATO is going to be very happy and where we're going to be very happy. But we need it for security purposes. We need it for national security and even world security. It's very important.
That was yesterday at the White House press briefing, and this is the Associated Press. Trump's Greenland threats spark outrage from EU and test longtime NATO alliance.
Europe is
Says,
surrounded.
That the President Trump's pledge to provoke a sweeping tariff fight with Europe to get his way in taking control of Greenland has left many of America's closest allies warning of a rupture with Washington, capable of shattering the NATO alliance that had once seemed unshakable. It says the European Union's top official on Tuesday called Trump's planned new tariffs on 8 of its countries over Greenland a, quote, mistake, and questioned Trump's trustworthiness. And Governor Gavin Newsom also had a response to that. He is in Davos, and here's his exchange with Sky News business correspondent in Davos.
I can't take this complicity. People rolling over. I should have brought a bunch of knee pads for all the world leaders. I mean, handing out crowns and this is pathetic. Nobel Prizes that are being given away. I mean, it's just pathetic. And I hope people understand how pathetic they look on the world stage. I mean, at least from an American perspective, it's embarrassing.
So what should Europe be doing?
You should decide, the Europeans should decide for themselves what to do. But one thing they can't do is what they've been doing. And they've been playing. This guy's playing folks for fools. And it's embarrassing.
Europeans think this is diplomacy and this will ultimately
this is diplomacy with Donald Trump. He's a T-Rex. You mate with him or he devours you. One or the other.
And you're afraid of
need to stand. No, the Europeans could be if they continue to look down this path and process. They need to stand tall, stand firm, stand united. Everybody's talking behind his back. They're laughing at him. Meanwhile, they're sucking up to him. It's embarrassing. I mean, this is your modeling behavior for our kids, generations of folks. This is not diplomacy. This is stupidity.
If they don't act, does it end with military solution?
I don't know. I mean, it just... who knows what happens in that respect? But with Donald Trump, you saw what happened in Maduro. You see what's happening on American streets. You saw what happened in the state of California. We put 700 active duty Marines. He didn't send them overseas. Last year, he sent them to American City, second largest city in the United States of America. He's got 1,500 active folks, members of the military, on call. Near Minneapolis. This guy has been a police state. You got a guy dressed up in SS uniforms.
You're making him sound dangerous.
Dangerous? You seen this guy, Greg Bavino? You see what's happening with ICE and secret police and masked men? People disappearing? Wake up. Where the hell has everybody been?
That is California's Governor Gavin Newsom in Switzerland. President Trump has arrived. His airplane there on the screen, waiting for him to disembark there and head over to his speech in Davos. He was delayed, so we're not quite sure of the timing on that speech. But
it's like that Beastie Boys song, "Sabotage."
Josephine in Livingston, New Jersey, Independent Line. Good morning, Josephine.
Good morning. I'm so saddened by what I'm seeing. But the president of our country, I mean, in my lifetime, I never imagined that anyone would act like he did. I think of Eisenhower when he was the first head of NATO. I think of people who represented our country with dignity. He does not. He does not. He is so shaming us. Why do you think they are now making red hats over there saying, "Make America go away" to represent America? Don't you get it? He's so humiliating our country. It's not even to be allowed. And believe me, they're going to shame him. I'm telling you, take my word for it. He didn't think Davos was important. Well, now he's going to find out, because the world has got his attention, and they now know what he stands for. He's become the official dictator of the world. Thank you.
And there is President Trump. We'll see if he is going to be giving, it doesn't look like he's going to be giving any remarks, but that is live. That's a live look there of Zurich, Switzerland, heading over to the helicopter to take him to Davos. Tyrone in New York, line for Democrats. Good morning, Tyrone.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. This is what happens when you put a bull in the china shop. We knew that Trump was going to be someone that did not have any respect for the laws of the Constitution of our country. We already saw when he generated an attack on our capital. So for him to do what he's doing now, it should be no surprise to a lot of his supporters, a lot of his non-supporters, and the people that didn't participate in the path that this country takes, the non-voters. So when we disregard what happens in this country and think that it's not going to affect us and what happens with us, maybe it won't initially, but keep ignoring this man. And believe me, somebody's out there that's worse than him. And if we don't decide to get involved with what's going on in this country, which a lot of us do, but why we have to wait till our back is against the wall to say, you know what, let's stand up. Let's stand up against this authoritarian ideology that is running through this country.
Stand up in what way, Tyrone? What do you suggest?
Stand up and get involved with the voting apparatus of this country, get involved with the path that they pay attention to the people that we're putting in this office, thinking that they're only going to serve one purpose. They serve many purposes, and then when we say that we want to see this government tore down, we want to see the government, because we have people in this country that actually believe that tearing down the government is going to make this country great again. And when they come up with this ideology, what it does is it leave us defenseless against what we need as a growing country. This country is only 250 years old. I said only because it's a baby. We haven't got out of our pull-ups yet. We don't know what's coming in down the road for us and how we can make this country better for all Americans.
All right, Tyrone. Let's talk to Edward now in West Virginia. Independent line, good morning.
Good morning. I'll be 91 years old tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm an independent. I like a lot of things that President Trump's done. The border, I can go through a lot of them. And I'm with him in what he's doing in Minnesota. But this thing about Greenland, it's stupid. Here we are with Russia invading Ukraine because they think they need it to protect themselves. We got a president who is supposed to be trying to stop that stuff. Now he's thought, well, that was a good idea. I'll go over and take Greenland, just like he's taken over Ukraine. So he's about 80% right on most things, but he's done an H on this one. Thank you very much.
All right. And let's hear from European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. She addressed President Trump's attempts to acquire Greenland with tariff threats during remarks in Davos yesterday.
When it comes to the security of the Arctic region, Europe is fully committed. And we share the objectives of the United States in this regard. For instance, our EU member, Finland, one of the newest NATO members, is selling its first icebreakers to the United States. And this shows that we have the capability right here in the ice, so to speak. It shows that our northern NATO members have Arctic-ready forces right now. And above all, that Arctic security can only be achieved together. And this is why the proposed additional tariffs are a mistake, especially between long-standing allies. The European Union and the United States have agreed to a trade deal last July. And in politics, as in business, a deal is a deal. And when friends shake hands, it must mean something. Ladies and gentlemen, we consider the people of the United States not just our allies, but our friends. And plunging us into a downward spiral would only aid the very adversaries we are both so committed to keeping out of the strategic landscape. So our response will be unflinching, united, and proportional.
That was European Commission President von der Leyen talking about making a proportional response to President Trump and his imposition of tariffs against European countries. Here is Theodore, Republican in Livonia, Michigan. You're on the air, Theodore.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you for taking my call. I'm just curious, who would the United States of America rather have in office than President Trump? Who could do a better job? There isn't anyone. The callers call in and say, oh, he's selling the oil to other countries. He's selling the oil to other countries. Well, that's so the United States can make some money. That's so we can help pay down our debt.
So what do you think, Theodore, about this trip to Davos? What do you want President Trump to say to world leaders?
Well, in regards to Greenland?
Greenland and other things, but yeah, let's start with Greenland.
Well, I don't think these countries can run the affairs of their own countries. Like President Trump said, if we don't do something about Greenland, China or Russia will come in there. Greenland's in a strategic point on the globe. Denmark's a 50 country. It's a 50 country.
And Greenland is considered part of NATO. So if Russia or
NATO?
Yes.
NATO?
Yes.
Who's NATO? Who's NATO? They can't even pay their own bills. You need the United States to pay for everything. They don't contribute nothing. They didn't contribute anything until President Trump came into office and made them pay.
So would you like to see? Would you like to see NATO go away? Do you think that it's not really doing anything?
I'd like to see them live up to their reputation and their expectations.
Okay. Sylvia in Alexandria, Virginia, Democrat, you're on the air.
Hi there. Good morning. I'm just calling to say how sad I am what's going on in the world right now and how scary it is, too. And I'm really upset with the Republicans because, especially in the House and the Senate, because if they can't see what is going on and how this particular president is destroying our country, then I'm obviously nothing we say or do can change that.
How do you think? How do you think the president is destroying the country?
Going into another country and saying, "I want to take you over. I want you," just like Putin does. Come on now. I mean, they allowed us to have bases. If we wanted more bases there, they would gladly give them to us. It's not like they want to. We need to be aggressors. It's not like we have to own them. What is that? The people who live there and traditions that they've had with their own, with Denmark. That's who they have been aligned with. And for our president to come in and say, "I want you to be with us," just because I want you. Yes, I mean, yes, there's probably minerals in the ground and there's other things, but I don't think it's for safety at all. I just think it's for money and greed, and that is what this president shows.
Let's go to Greg on the Republican line in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Ms. Gurges. A couple comments. I wish there was some mechanism that C-SPAN would have. For example, that last lady who called, I'd love to have a conversation with her. Yeah, I don't know that you could work that out in some way. I'm a longtime viewer of C-SPAN since Brian Lamb era. I used to watch it religiously. I can't anymore. I'm watching, obviously, today. I do it occasionally. But I hear so much garbage about people. You could have put what happened in the first term about NATO and living up to 2%. Run all of those calls, and they would sound exactly like the calls you're getting from the people who have yet to give Donald J. Trump any credit for anything. Anything.
So, Greg, you said you. No, hold on. But you said you wanted to talk to the caller ahead before you. So, what do you want to say to her?
I would say she's wrong. She is wrong. Let's talk about why you think this. Doesn't anybody believe that the President of the United States knows more than you do, Ms. Gurgis, or I do about this situation? Why don't you talk about the 1951 agreement that the United States has with Greenland? This is just deja vu all over again.
Greg, tell us about the 1951 agreement. Go ahead.
The 51 agreement that allows the United States to have lots of presence in Greenland. It is the basis for why he is doing what he's doing, in my opinion. Plus, this.
But the United States does have. I mean, you're right. They already have that. But the question is, do you think that it should be acquired by the United States?
I think Donald J. Trump. How long do people have to watch him? He is used to making deals. And if you make deals, you never go in, you go in high and eventually work something out, which is what he has done every day of both terms of his presidency.
So do you think
nobody?
So Greg, well, let's talk about this. Do you think that this is just a deal-making ploy, that he actually doesn't want to acquire Greenland? He just wants to extract more from Denmark? Tell me what you think he's thinking.
His bottom line is he wants more involvement there to protect the United States and NATO from China and Russia.
So not necessarily to own it.
You asked me a question. Let me answer. If he can own it, sure, if they're willing. But I don't think they're going to be willing. But that's not his ultimate goal. Pay attention to what he has done in his 6+ years as president. Doesn't anybody, if somebody is mostly successful, wouldn't you, the next time that person does something, give that person the benefit of the doubt? Not a lot of people. Finally, my point, because you got other callers, I'm sure, and I've called in a bunch of times and never got in. I don't want to block
Sure, go ahead.
other people.
One more thing.
Two things. Rotate independent to the top of the list. Most of your callers self-identify, and also put in the comment line, 202-737-3220. People who can't get in can call there and leave messages. I've left a bunch.
All right, Greg. We appreciate you interacting so much with us. And this is Chris, Independent, Louisiana. You're on the air, Chris.
Good morning. First-time caller here from Louisiana. I'm a conservative independent. That's how I identify myself. I have been doing everything possible to support some of the big initiatives that came from the Trump administration, and I have been debating myself mostly for many months, and have come to the final conclusion that I have to skip ship with President Trump and encourage the conservative independents that we need to make efforts to move in the direction of asking our vice president to step up, and Mike Johnson, who is from my hometown right here, that we've got to control and do whatever necessary to seek Trump's removal from power, as he has effectively demonstrated without any doubt that he has lost his ability health-wise to lead the country.
What leads you to that conclusion, Chris?
Just accumulated efforts on my part to make sense that he was doing some good, and that good needed to be done at this point in the history of our country. And the border, the LGBT movement, the DEI, those things had to be corrected. They had gone way too far, and so his work I do appreciate to address those things, but his mental health is just too alarming. It is a major concern moving forward.
Why do you think he's got mental health issues? Like what, is there something in particular that leads you to that?
This is his personality that has been unhinged for many years. It's nothing new, but it has progressed. I've observed that it's getting worse. He's too much of a strongman. He has got nobody in his administration that is showing any indication that we are trying to balance the effect of Donald J. Trump. And he's gotten to the point where I think that it's gone beyond a healthy thing for the interests of our nation. So conservatives, he is not a conservative. He never was, but he was a disruptor, and that's why I supported him. It's time for a new generation of conservatives to come up with a more balanced approach.
And is there somebody in particular you like? You mentioned the vice president.
Well, the vice president is in position, and he would be effectively the first person to be looked at.
But is that who you would choose?
At this point, yes, just because he is our vice president.
Greenland.
And there is a responsibility there that can be followed through the Constitution.
Got it. Fred, in California,
All this war causing insecurity.
I'm just concerned. I'm really concerned. What is wrong with our Congress? Where's our Congress at? How is it that they're not getting no kind of control or no kind of understanding from this man? This is crazy. He is going over to another country to talk about what they got going on in their country, or to talk about he's going to take over their country. I don't understand how so many people, and these people that you got calling, I don't understand how so many people don't understand and don't see division, don't see how they don't get that like this dude is dividing everything that America stands for and what American people stand for. Like, it is crazy.
Like what?
Worried about someone.
Explain that, Fred. Dividing in what way?
Dividing our country, fathers, like our country, like America, the blacks, the police against each other, ICE against each other, like he's worried about something over there in all these other states, and he prided himself on America first, America agenda, America first. And right now, America is looking at this man going over there talking about he want to acquire a whole nother area. That is crazy. And we got military over there. We got friends over there. We got allies over there. It's like this guy just don't understand. Like we got what we want. Like why would you want to agitate and urge people like he's doing?
All right, Fred. And this is the front page of the Wall Street Journal. It says tariff turmoil returns, rattling the markets.
It's like beating your
Greenland
chest like a
dispute,
gorilla.
President's warning sends stocks, bonds, and the dollar down. It says trade turmoil is back on Wall Street. Stocks slumped on Tuesday after President Trump stepped up his campaign to take over Greenland and threatened new restrictions on trade with Europe. He said that he threatened that new restrictions on trade with Europe should he not get his way. The Nasdaq Composite slid 2.4% in its worst day since October. The U.S. dollar retreated. The yield on the 10-year Treasuries, a key gauge of borrowing costs, climbed to its highest level since August. Gold, seen as a haven asset during times of geopolitical or economic uncertainty, soared to records. That's at the Wall Street Journal. And we'll talk to Caleb next in Silver Spring, Maryland, Republican line. Hi, Caleb.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm just, sometimes I'm out of words with this administration. As a Republican, it's very disheartening to see all establishments in this government, in this country, being destroyed and dismantled. And I think a lot of it is because of the Epstein files. This coming midterms, I will be voting Democrat because I'm just, sick and tired of it. Greenland matters to NATO because of the strategic location. We already have many bases in Greenland. And to say we need to acquire the country is ludicrous because, Greenland gets free healthcare and education from Denmark. If the U.S. buys it, Greenland will no longer have that because the United States government can't even do that for its own citizens here. And so how are we promising to do more and better for other people that we're not even doing for our own people now? So it just doesn't make sense. I think all of this is just a hoax and a distraction from the Epstein files. I say whether it be Democrat, Republican, Independents, whoever is on the Epstein file, release it and let them be exposed and let the country move forward.
And Caleb, when you said you're going to be voting Democrat in the next election, had you voted Republican in this past election?
Yes. And, a lot of the things I thought, was going to be good for the country based on the promises and everything that was said during the election. But words and action are two different things. When somebody promises you something but does something different, that is when you need to start thinking for your own self and say, you know what, next time, rather than the words, I'm going to look at the action. And this administration, in terms of action, keeps on giving each and every day, what this country doesn't need, what this country doesn't want. I know they say they have a mandate from the voters. We voted for the country to be more prosperous, not for the country to be turned into a Gestapo.
All right, Caleb. And let's hear from President Trump. He was at the White House yesterday. A reporter asked him about Greenland, and he talked about Norway and the Nobel Peace Prize.
You told Norway's prime minister that you not winning the Nobel Peace Prize made you feel less obligated to think purely of peace.
Well, I lost a lot of respect for Norway. And I believe very strongly that Norway controls the Nobel Prize. But you have to understand, I settled 8 wars. I've had every one of those wars, every participant wrote, I didn't ask him to do it. They sent in strong they make recommendations for that. But I settled 8 wars. No president's probably ever settled 1 war. I don't know, think of it. I did 8. The reason I do it is because it's easy for me to do. And I didn't do it for a Nobel Prize. I did it because I'm saving a lot of lives. I'm trying to settle the final one. I'm trying to do Russia-Ukraine. And when Russia's ready, Ukraine's not. When Ukraine's ready, Russia's not. But they're losing 25,000 people a month on average. And I'm trying to get that one done. But I feel that Norway has tremendous control over who gets the Nobel Prize, despite what they say.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
You'll find out.
President Trump yesterday at the White House, when he was asked how far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland, he said, you'll find out. And we are taking your calls. Here's Edward in South Haven, Michigan, Democrat. Hi, Edward, you're on the air.
Hey, thank you. Hey, I really got to compliment your last couple, Caleb, Fred, and Chris callers there, 2 Republicans and a Democrat, I believe. America's finally waking up and realizing what Trump is doing, and it's just nuts. Most of my Republican friends, I call them ignorant, and the definition of ignorant in the book is lacking accurate information. We have been lacking accurate information the first Trump presidency and now. And after the 30 days in office, I knew we are already in a dictatorship. And that one guy, the guy from Livonia, across the state from me here, I think his name was Theodore. He said, who else could be president? Can name a better president? And I think you could pick any 6th grader in America would be a better president. The guy, I think it was maybe Chris, who recognized the mental health of Trump. Being so narcissistic. I was born and raised in Long Island, so I'm a native New Yorker, and everybody knows the Trump family, and not part of the Trump family. All their bankruptcies, how they treat people, and I'm just worried for our grandkids and their kids.
All right, Ed, and caller mentioned the 1951 agreement. So in case you're wondering about that, here is history.com. The Cold War agreement that opened Greenland to the U.S. military in 1951. The U.S. and Denmark signed a mutual defense pact directed by NATO that remains in effect. And it says this, in 1951, the 1951 Defense of Greenland Agreement granted the U.S. the right to expand its military presence in Greenland far beyond World War II levels. The largest addition was the construction of Thule Air Base. It's now called Pacific Space Base in Greenland's frozen north, which was manned by more than 10,000 U.S. troops at the height of the Cold War. So that base is still there in existence. And this is Steve, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Republican. Hi, Steve.
Good morning, ma'am. I just wanted to say that, there's still so much division here, but
sharing is caring.
The Greenland offer or whatever, I don't know what that entails, but if you look through the history of it, how many times different presidents have offered to buy that thing or tried to purchase it. And it is national defense, and it is Western Hemisphere priorities that Mr. Trump is trying to put across. And, I'm prior military strong, inflation's down. My gas is $2.05 a pump. I don't know. That's the kind of things I measure stuff on. And with all that said, his mental health, the guy's from here, there, and everywhere at his age, and as aggressive as he is, I don't see any problem. I mean, if you want to see, like this guy was talking about, he's going to vote Democrat. Well, Virginia is going to bump every tax they got up. Third day she's in office over there. So you get your good and you get your bad. But high taxes is not where I want to be, and that's why I stay conservative and vote Republican.
So, Steve,
and go J.D. Vance and Rubio for the next term.
And Steve, you mentioned Greenland for national security. And since you're former military, you might have an opinion on this. Do we have enough presence in Greenland, do you think, to address those national security concerns? Or is there a reason in your mind to acquire Greenland?
Well, I think there's, besides the defense advantage we have there at Greenland, and being able to maximize it, build it up even more, the minerals and the different things that we need to stay competitive with the Chinese, right? With the rare minerals and all that other stuff. I can't even say it this morning, but yeah, we got to stay competitive. And everybody talks about progressive people. If you ask me, all these ideas are progressive. And why don't we go in that offense? Why don't we be progressive that way, and be aggressive when it comes to our national defense and our rare minerals, and be competitive that way? Because it's going to be a competitive world in the next 100 years.
All right, let's talk to Ted next. Independent, Boston, Massachusetts. Go ahead, Ted.
Yeah, man. No taxes, right? But then you turn around and elect Trump, who puts on a tariff on everything under the sun.
Oh.
Taxes us all. Those are taxes, man. Don't you get it? I'm struck here because we've had 5, 6, 7 Republicans in a row all calling in, most of which are acting like they're surprised that any of this is happening. And, the line has been crossed. One guy said it was Greenland. The other guy's telling us Democrats are going to tax us when we have tariffs everywhere. I don't know what to do anymore, because it's like we have half a nation of people who don't even know why we fought World War II. We have a guy calling in telling us that NATO's not paying their dues. NATO is to our benefit because we are a world superpower, okay? But we're not anymore because we elected a village idiot cogman, okay? And overnight, in a year, he's tariffed us all, so we pay less. We made the world hate us to the point where now the EU is thinking of bypassing us in favor of China. And we are lowered to the likes of Putin. And we have some guy from the military in here calling and telling me about division when he's going in and stomping over, everything my ancestors fought for in World War II to secure our world dominance. It's like we have a bunch of idiots running around who are captivated by the internet and can't even discern their own news, can't discern their own information.
So Ted, wait, let's get back. Let's get back to what you were saying about allies. And do you think that we still need allies? Do we still need NATO? Or does the world go into spheres of influence? We take care of the Western Hemisphere, China takes care of the Pacific, Russia takes care of Eastern Europe. What do you think?
In a sane world, we'd have allies and we'd rest upon our laurels of winning World War II and dominating the world to provide us with the lives that we've had, so these freaking morons can call in and tell us about division and taxes and then turn around and do the same thing.
All right, Ted. Let's hear actually from Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. So he was he's still in Davos. He was speaking yesterday, and he talked about the threats to the rules-based order coming from the great powers. Take a look.
Today I will talk about a rupture in the world order, the end of a pleasant fiction and the beginning of a harsh reality, where the large main power geopolitics is submitted to no limits, no constraints. On the other hand, I would like to tell you that the other countries, especially intermediate powers like Canada, are not powerless. They have the capacity to build a new order that encompasses our values, such as respect for human rights, sustainable development, solidarity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the various states. The power of the less power starts with honesty.
It seems that every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. And this aphorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself. And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't.
That's Canada's Prime Minister speaking yesterday about a new rules-based order, and he got a standing ovation. Here's the New York Times. Canada flexes on global stage with an eye to its own survival. Prime Minister Mark Carney got a standing ovation in Davos for starkly describing the end of Pax Americana. He is looking for new allies to help his country survive it. That's at the New York Times if you'd like to read the full article. Let's talk to Randy in Oklahoma, Democrat. Hi, Randy.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you today? It's a beautiful day. I heard a guy talking about accurate information and people not getting accurate information. Boy, he's so right. We heard about the Russian collusion. That was all inaccurate information. The dossier was all inaccurate information. The laptop was all inaccurate information. It was pumped out there by you guys, and I include you with the media because you're as distorted as they are by your programming and your call selection. But I'm infuriated that all this accurate or inaccurate information that you guys shared goes unchallenged
So, Randy, bring us to today, to the speech in Davos and what's happening with Greenland. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, is this open line or is this specific to Greenland?
No, this is specific. This is not open forum yet. Yeah, that's coming later in the program, though.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me know. So as far as Greenland goes, oh man, I don't think you could get to be a bigger Democratic MAGA guy than me. I just don't. I can't imagine a creature more MAGA than me being a Democrat. And Greenland is part of that Make America Great. It's America. It's not Make the United States Great. It's a broader vision for world peace. We're not. I hate the way Trump did this. It seems like he just stirred up a hornet's nest when he could have done this a little more diplomatically. And Trump's not known for being a diplomat or Democrat, but he could have done it a better way. A lot of things, he did it the way he did it, and it's worked out great. I hope this works out great as well. We need a 51st state or a 52nd state. What we need are...
Wait, so Randy, you want Greenland to be a state?
I think that if, and I'm no expert, no, I do not want Greenland to be a state. I do not want Canada to be a state. I do not want Venezuela to be a state.
It would be like the opposite of Hawaii.
To be part of Make America, North America, the American continent, great again.
Got it. And with that, we will end this segment, but there's more to come. President Trump does address the World Economic Forum later this morning, and we'll show you his comments live. We're expecting that at about 8:30, so stay with us for that, and that will be live coverage. But before that, we'll chat with two members of Congress, and we'll get an update on the Supreme Court, and we'll take your calls for open forum. The numbers are on your screen. Democrats are on 202-748-8000, Republicans 202-748-8001, and Independents 202-748-8002. We'll be right back.
Watch America's Book Club, C-SPAN's bold original series. Sunday,
yeah, download the C-SPAN app.
Christopher Buckley, best-selling satirical author and son of conservative writer William F. Buckley. He has written more than a dozen books, including The White House Mess, Thank You for Not
You can listen
Smoking,
while you go to
Florence
work.
of Arabia, and the deeply personal Losing Mom and Pop. He joins our host, renowned author and civic leader David Rubenstein.
You have written 20 books, many of them satires. Satire is a lost art a bit. I don't see that many satirists that are best-selling authors.
There are Carl Hyacin, Dave Farrell.
Europe is going to unite.
Might be more classified as humorists.
The difference between a satire and a humorist, you would say, is
hundreds of thousands of sales.
Watch America's Book Club with Christopher Buckley. Sunday at 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. Only on C-SPAN.
Best ideas and best practices can be found anywhere.
We have to listen so we can govern better.
Democracy depends on heavy doses of civility.
You can fight and still be friendly.
Bridging the divide in American politics.
You know, you may not agree with the Democrat on everything, but you can find areas where you do agree.
He's a pretty likable guy as well.
Chris Coons and I are actually friends. He votes wrong all the time, but we're actually friends.
The horrible secret that Scott and I have is that we actually respect each other.
We all don't hate each other.
You two actually kind of like each other. These are the kinds of secrets we'd like to expose.
It's nice to be with a member who knows what they're talking about.
You guys did agree to the civility, all right?
He owes my son $10 from the bet.
He has never paid. Well, fork it over.
No, that's fighting words right there.
Yeah, I'm going to get up off here, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
To be on the show with him.
They're not shows like this, right? Incentivizing.
Enjoy your day.